And welcome back to the Netherkast. I don't know if this episode will have a number or title. This is a special episode this week. We're going to review the issues of the comic up to the end of Season 1. And it's just me, Razor's Edge, and Shadaloo, who are hosting this week. I guess Cyborg and Temp don't really care about the comic that much.
As well they shouldn't. My God, has it ever failed to meet expectations on so very, very many levels. In fact, Razor, you review this thing. I'm going to be over here playing Street Fighter EX plus Alpha.
That's cheating. You're a cheater. Don't leave me to do this by myself.
I suppose Blair Dame and Darren Mister can wait.
You can just put Skullomania on hold, sir. So,
Nothing puts Skullomania on hold. Nothing puts justice on hold.
So anyway, the comic.
Yep.
When last we reviewed it, we were on issue 21, which ends with Scorpion and Takeda going to a temple, a Shaolin temple named after Liu Kang, that Shujinko is in charge of, to retrieve one of the Kamidogus. And there they found Havoc wearing a fake face on his face and pretending to be a regular dude.
And Shujinko, being Shujinko, obviously buys this. Yes.
Yeah, of course he does, because, I mean, Havoc's face looked so convincing, don't you think?
He's a man of God. You can trust him.
So, anyway, issue 22 starts where 21 left off. They're in the Shaolin Temple, which I noticed, by the way, kind of looks like the temple stage from MK4 in the beginning of Mythologies.
Yeah, just a little bit. I can see the similarities.
Well, so that's kind of a nice touch. But anyway, Havoc's face is no longer drawn, unconvincingly. He actually looks like a regular dude.
Yeah, the art in this series, hoo-ha. I can't say very kind things about Shujinko's face here on that topmost panel. He appears to have a dwarf head.
This art will change on you, and not just from issue to issue when the artists change, but from panel to panel. You gotta keep on your toes.
This thing has been passed around. Like, trying to make a metaphor that's not sexual.
Like, the same artist will not draw Kintaro's face the same way twice, or Scarlet's clothing the same way twice.
My primary objective, once we're done this thing, when I get some spare time, I'm like, put this up on the Facebook group or something. I'm going to compile every single face shot of Kintaro into one glorious collage. And I swear to God, it'll look like an army. Fucking never looks the same way.
Yeah, I was mad that he's the only Tigrar in the comic, like they don't represent the rest of his ethnicity at all. But it turns out they do. Every shot isn't actually Kintaro, it's a different guy.
You could just squint, and if they don't address him by name, chances are it might not be him. Oh, Jesus. But we'll get to that.
So the start of the issue, Scorpion is, about to start a fight. He's basically accusing Havoc, because he recognizes Havoc's voice from the Sub-Zero fight, when he was the blood demon in his head. And Shujinko's all like, no, this guy's a holy man, you can trust him. Just everybody calm down and we'll talk this out. And Scorpion doesn't have any evidence that Havoc is the blood demon, so he goes along with it. And
a rare moment of not attacking something out of rage, Scorpion listening to reason.
Yeah. So Shujinko and Takeda, they go into another room and let Havoc and Scorpion talk privately. And Havoc is starting to give this spiel about how, you came here to get the Kamidogu for Raiden, but, he's the evil one. The bad guy is trying to collect all the Kamidogus. The only guy who's trying to collect Kamidogus right now is Raiden, so he must be the bad guy. And Scorpion's, not buying it.
Because he's no Shujinko.
Yeah. So then it cuts to, Shujinko is talking to Takeda about his dad Kenshi and how he fights the Red Dragons. And, he doesn't mention, the stuff Takeda's not supposed to know, fortunately, that his mom was killed by the Red Dragons. But it still feels like a little too much information for me compared to, how the game is like the first time he learns a bunch of stuff, you know?
Right.
Anyway, back to Scorpion and Havoc. Scorpion's like tired of Havoc's bullshit and just goes to grab the Kamidogu, but it's an illusion. And
dun dun.
And Havoc's just all like, look, I know Raiden is corrupt because I'm the one who corrupted him, and rips off his fake face.
Brrrr! Although I gotta admit, that's a pretty good shot of Havoc here.
Yeah, it's a cool visual. I will give this scene that. And I mean, Scorpion was clearly not listening, so no reason to keep up the ruse. And then we cut back to Shujinko and Takeda again, and Shujinko's the one who has the real Kamidogu, because he's possessed by it and he attacks Takeda.
First he had to die! Lightning out of the eyes and all.
So then we cut back to the Sky Temple, which I will note that the outside of is now drawn like it looks in MKX, not like the tall tower out in the middle of nowhere from Deception. But the inside, the Jinsei chamber, still looks like fucking Zordon's command center. Which is just the funniest thing to me.
And, well, he did recruit a team of teenagers with attitudes eventually.
That is kind of true. Damn it. So
we got Fujin coming here.
Yeah, Fujin's returning. He was in the Netherrealm, like, he was checking the barriers to see if anybody was trying to invade from the Netherrealm, or if that's where the Blood Demon came from.
We can start applauding now, because Fujin is back.
Yeah.
He's the man of the hour.
Also, he's still drawn in his Armageddon costume, so there's that. But, he's like, well, the Netherrealm barriers are safe, so it's not from there, but we did kind of forget to guard one place, and that's, like, the space between worlds, which is Shang Tsung's island. And Fujin's like, I tried to check out Shang's island, and it was shielded. And the shield is a lot like the shields you make, Raiden. Is there something you want to tell me? And Raiden's all like, not that I know of. And then he goes
I haven't been being evil on the sly this week.
And Raiden goes to, like, get in the Jinsei to recharge or whatever, but it, like, kicks him out. And Fujin's all like, you've been using the Kamidogus too much, and it can sense that, and it doesn't like it. I told you so. And
Fujin's face here is kind of just really funny. He's got this, using the Kamidogu. Don't do that.
I told you. How many times?
And Raiden says, I know, I never listen.
But then Raiden says, well, if the danger's Shang's Island, like, Outworld's connected to Shang's Island just like Earth is, and Johnny and Sonya are in Outworld, so we should probably warn them. Which cuts us to Outworld and Johnny and Sonya. And they're at a dock, and Kotal's slaves are, like, loading up the ships to go sail to Shang's Island and rescue Cassie and Jackie and fight Reiko and stuff. And Sonya's sort of, she's getting impatient, like it's taken too long to load the boats and everything, and Johnny's trying to calm her down and, like, comfort her, you know, that we'll rescue Cassie, don't worry about it so much. And then Sonya freaks out because she notices one of the boxes has, like, a Black Dragon logo on it.
Good job being a secretive criminal organization, you fucks.
Yeah, right?
Put the goddamn logo of your criminal corporation on your... Oh, Christ, I can't even.
The most important thing about being a gangster is branding. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, if you're an arms dealer, you gotta stamp your fucking logo on everything. So anyway, Sonya opens the crate, and inside there's a WMD. And Kotal walks up and he's like, is there a problem here? And they both just kind of stifle it like, yeah, we'll just let this go because we need this guy.
Making sure these crates are properly packed. Ripping them up, but, you know, just make sure they'll hold up. They'll survive the trip. They're good.
Yeah. So the issue ends with a cut back to Shang's Island where Reiko is just cutting himself up and juicing on blood magic, and I guess Scarlet's there too, and her eyes are glowing with red lightning, so she's been cutting too, I don't know. But she's back to wearing that stupid, like, Evangelion plug suit again. So there's that.
I swear to God, this entire spiel that Reiko delivers here, right over the heart. Take the power and the pain. Together we'll shed blood on this island as never before. That crimson tidal wave will carry me to conquer Outworld, and then Earthrealm, and then finally to slaughter the Elder Gods themselves. Am I the only one who's like hearing Iron Maiden's Run to the Hills here?
There's a
I swear to God, this last splash page, well, single page here, I'm just like imagining like Eddie from Iron Maiden or something. This just looks like a heavy metal cover. Red Lightning, scantily clad shit grasping at him. Seriously, Raker could be like Danzig here. He really could. Anyway.
I think there's some Frazetta influences. I'm not complaining. But, well, I'm complaining about Scarlett's outfit, but that's neither here nor there. Literally, it's neither here nor there. The next panel, it will look different.
Yes, it absolutely will. I've changed. I guess that's digital issue number 23 we're into now.
Yep. 23 starts with Sonya and Johnny they're sharing quarters on Kotal's boat, and Sonya's not too happy about it, because, they're kind of split up at this point. And she's, like, trying to sleep on the floor. And, Johnny's all like, so where do we go wrong, anyway? And there's a flashback to the beginning, like, the first chapter of MKX, where it's, like, after Johnny has... Shinnok's been sucked into the amulet, and he's, like, comforting a wounded Sonya, and the Jinsei Chamber's healing her. And by the way, the Jinsei Chamber in this scene is drawn like it looks in the game, not like Zordon's command center.
And I just want to point out that the panel on the far right, colorist, I don't know what you were trying for here, but it didn't work, because that statue in the background is giving the viewer some googly fucking eyes. It does not work. As we were.
It's pretty goofy, yeah. So basically, this is showing, like, one of the first tender moments where the relationship actually started to, like, blossom. Because, like, Sonya's all like, I've never seen you act like that before. And Johnny goes, like, what? And she says, selfless. And anyway, he asks her to, like, a dinner and a movie, and she goes, as long as it's not one of your movies.
As long as you've got a concussion. Want to go out with me?
Yeah, right.
I'm Johnny Cage! 4 months later.
Yep. Sonya's arriving at Johnny's apartment to talk to him.
Johnny, no, you'll live apparently
he
right
answers
near
the door,
Mr.
nothing but a towel. So, Johnny Cage!
He lives right next to Misters Boone, Lansdowne, Kurtzik, and Chard.
Yeah, that's
I don't know who any of these people are.
Complete strangers. This is so obscure. I don't know what he was going for. But yeah, on the bright side with the art, it is drawn exactly the same as at the beginning of the comic when we saw Cassie in this apartment.
True enough.
So at least they're consistent for once on that. But so Johnny starts like flirting with her, and he's like, "You want to stay for my famous shadow pancakes?" And he's like, she tells him to shut up, and like she's pregnant. She says.
I try to point out that there's like 7 bottles of beer on the table.
That's true.
I could see Johnny drinking a lot in his private life. I like this. Keep this up.
It definitely doesn't say nothing. But yeah, then we're a few years later, and it's like after Cassie's been born, and we see Sonya gearing up to go on a mission, and it's like the middle of the night, and Johnny walks out to be all like, "Where the hell are you going?" And she says that, Kenshi was out on a mission and he called for help, so she's got to go back him up. And Johnny's like, "But it's Cassie's birthday. You can't just... You have a responsibility here to your daughter and everything." And Sonya's all like, "Well, I don't want to, but one day she'll understand that when duty calls, we make sacrifices." And then we see Sonya and Kenshi fighting a bunch of Red Dragon goons.
In northern Pakistan.
Yep, they're in Pakistan. Yes, Pakistan. So, the chopper arrives to come pick them up, and Sonya spots, like, a lady in, was it a burqa or hijab, whatever they call?
Let's see here. I know this sounds terrible, but don't.
Yeah, we're both probably being culturally insensitive for not knowing, but it's a...
We're not evil, we're just ignorant. And I believe that is a burqa.
Okay, well, this Middle Eastern lady is pointing a rocket launcher at their chopper, and Sonya's about to shoot her, and she notices that there's a little girl standing next to her, presumably her daughter, and Sonya takes the shot anyway. And then we're back in the boat when, the present day as she's telling this story. And she's, obviously a little, like, I don't want to say traumatized, but it haunts her that she did that. But she, like, rationalized it as, part of me wanted to believe I was setting that little girl free. And then she says, free from a mother who cared more about field artillery than field trips. Just like me, just like Cassie. So, this is sort of obviously how she feels about, like, her putting her work before her family, and it's, like, why she sort of pushes them away, I guess.
It's actually, honestly, it's a really nice moment, these last couple of pages. These kind of stuck with me. I like it.
It's definitely more touching than, like, similar scenes that were in the game where Sonya's just kind of a bitch until she's not.
No, seriously, more of this. I like this. Sonya, not being all about the job at any particular cost. Just, you don't go into war zones and come out unscathed unless you're a monster. This is a moment that Sonya needed. Definitely.
There's character here. There's the characters are acting like they would act, and their personalities are shining, and the development in this quiet moment, I like that. And it's something, there's a lot of characters in this comic. And there's a lot of characters who are being praised for being in this comic because they're 3D era characters who don't usually get a lot of screen time. And we'll talk about this more later, but those guys I don't really think get a fair shake in the development department. But this is how it should be. Like, the characterization Sonya and Johnny are getting here is, I want more of this for the other characters.
Damned frickin' straight. I think for Sonya, a moment like this is pretty much 20 years overdue. I don't think she's had a moment this good in a really, really long time.
There were touches of this in the movie, but nothing since then.
Yeah, exactly. 20 years.
So anyway, they're arriving at the island, so Johnny and Sonya go up on deck, and we see the island in the horizon, and Sonya's sort of thinking to herself about how if they don't manage to save Cassie, then all the, like, sacrifices she did will be for nothing, because, like, Cassie will die with her having never known her daughter, and Cassie never knowing how much her mother cared. And then we cut to Cassie in the dungeon. And
Actually, go back a second again.
Oh, okay.
Really, really nice page right here. The boat approaching the foreboding island of Shang Tsung, moon up in the background. It's good. I like that.
Yeah, they did a good job. There's, like, fog and everything. It's atmospheric.
Definitely.
Sometimes the art doesn't suck in this book, is what we're saying.
I'm really going to try and, like, hit the highs and the lows of the art, because I don't want to come across as just hating this for the really bad, and it does get bad moments where that there are fill-in artists involved who are just working, God bless their little hearts and souls and hands and pens, on I'm sure is a terribly tight schedule, but when they do lovely work like that, I want to acknowledge it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and, another thing, like, while we're naming positives, I want to say that I think every panel Sub-Zero's in is usually, like, his face is really well drawn. Like, the art reminds me of Ivan Rice's run on Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Which was really, like, an iconic, well drawn, like, he's sort of famous for that. And I think it's Sub-Zero's face was drawn in the same style, and I think it's really well done. So, there are some good things, and then sometimes there's Kintaro's face in Scarlet's costume. So anyway, Cassie in the dungeon. The door slams open, hitting her in the face, and Jackie comes in and starts putting the boots to her, and she's got the glowing red possessed eyes. She's obviously been cut with the Kamidogu. And she's,
Blood code!
Scarlet can free us with the blood code! And then Jackie holds Cassie still so Scarlet can come in and stab her too. And there's a line here, Scarlet says, when your parents arrive, you'll give them a proper bloody welcome. Now, is Scarlet British, or is that just another stupid pun?
It's a stupid pun, but I'm sorry. I read it in a thick Cockney accent.
It's a stupid pun, but yeah. Like, now I'm going to picture Scarlet in with an accent all the time.
You'll give them a proper bloody welcome, eh?
I've studied all your moves.
That's Australian. Okay, no, I have to try that one over again.
If they both
I've
say
tried
bloody, it's fair.
We'll give him a proper bloody welcome. What? Okay, no, that's also terrible.
I'll cut you with a kamidogu, I swear in me mum I will.
You what, mate? Your blade? Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
No more voices for Stealth Action Scarlet. Okay. And I'm referring to that as Stealth Action Scarlet from now, because I swear to God, this outfit, the way it looks right here, right now...
This is definitely like a variant action figure costume.
Seriously.
Like it's the yellow and green Batman you find in Walmart.
I can picture this for like $6.95 on clearance at a Winners. Oy. So, stabbing her with a knife. Blubber, bloody welcome.
That's where that issue ends.
Next up.
Oh, and I did want to mention in that particular page, Scarlet's plug suit has, like, red armor over top of it. And you will never see that armor again.
Oh, sweet Jesus, why? What was wrong with her in-game look?
I know, right? So, with issue 24, we're back to the fight between Scorpion and Havoc. And basically, like, right off the bat, this starts with Scorpion just, you know, flipping out. You killed my clan to provoke me? And you're like...
X-ray!
Yep.
To the knee.
Smashes his knee, sets his hair on fire, and twists his head 180 degrees. And then he slams him to the ground and punches his face over and over again until it's mush.
Someone's been watching Sin City!
But, that doesn't do it. Havoc gets right back up. And he's talking in the bloody red speech bubbles of a possessed person. So I'm guessing, like, I mean, Havoc is supposed to have, like, healing powers, but I guess we're supposed to think in this instance the regeneration is blood magic, like the same thing as when Forrest Fox's face kept growing back.
This is backed up much, much later on. So he is. There's a little bit of blood magic in him.
Yeah. So Havoc keeps the fight going, and he's like telling Scorpion, why don't you let the fire take you? Why don't you become Scorpion? Because he wants Scorpion on his side. And
all your clan are is dust in the wind. And I'm just forever gonna picture that one as Havoc's theme song from now on. It's too late. No.
He has staked his claim to that one. So Shujinko has Takeda like at hostage at knife point, and Havoc just keeps beating on Scorpion and telling him to turn, and Hanzo's not fighting back. And eventually Havoc puts his fist right through Scorpion's chest. And basically this beating is the whole issue.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Just
so
going through it, and
at the end, Hanzo is bleeding to death, and Takeda's begging him to get up and keep fighting. And he's just all like, remember, Takeda, you always have a choice. And he dies. And Havoc's just standing there, and he's like, here come the fireworks. ... Or maybe not. Where's Scorpion? And Takeda's all like, he chose death. You'll never control him. And Havoc says, then he was an agent of chaos. Which is like...
I'm flipping through these trying to get, like, trying to stay in step with everything you're saying. God, really, so little actually happens in this whole thing. So much beating.
That last line where Havoc's all like, then he was an agent of chaos because he did this thing I didn't predict him doing. That's like the only moment in this entire comic I think Havoc is actually in character, like acts like he did in Deception.
I think there's another one that comes up much, much later on.
Yeah,
there is
one or two other small moments, but for the most part, he's just kind of a generic bad guy, and that drives me crazy, because most of the people who talk about this comic as MK fans are just so glad Havoc and Reiko are in it, and they're just such generic bad guys who don't act like they did in the games. It drives me crazy.
Well, we've had these words before, but I never thought that Reiko acted like much at all, because he hasn't had a lot of time to shine. And
Well,
actually,
yeah, but
and
that one scene he has in Armageddon Conquest where he's talking to Taven, there's so much personality in that one single scene. That's enough to define a character. It was really strong. And
by the same token, though, he is one of those lusting after power types, and I could really see him going on with this whole scheme. I don't think that this comic used Reiko badly, maybe not as well as it could have.
I don't have a problem with his actions. My problem is that his dialogue is boring.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Like, I just want him to talk like that calm, sophisticated, smarter than you guy who, like, never gets mad and screams. Like, he's always screaming and grimacing and acting crazy in this comic. He has all the generic bad guy facial expressions.
Like, between the absent aristocratic element that Reiko's got going on, but all the puns that the various characters fucking make left and right, like, you do kind of get the sense that characterization through dialogue is virtually non-existent here. I say virtually. There are some moments. Cage feels like Cage.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because he's got such a strong character that's it's harder to subdue that.
It's almost impossible to do Johnny Cage wrong. I think it's almost impossible to do Raiden wrong, because boring is his default setting.
Pretty well. But a lot of the separate characters, I mean, Scorpion has these puns here and there, or, like, not even puns, but times where he says to get over this or that, and it's like... They're just really straining to work in the catchphrases and the gameplay terms. It takes me out of the experience, and it's not something that I want to see continue, but it is. And it makes
it's like, once or twice is cute, haha, but it's almost every issue, man.
Oy. Alright, so
Hanzo is dead, which I don't remember coming up in MKX, do you?
Well, he had been dead before.
Yeah,
I guess it doesn't really matter.
I don't know, man.
No, not even a little bit. It doesn't.
I don't know where this is coming from. So anyway, Havoc just lets Takeda go, because it's not like he's a threat or anything.
I think it just really does bear saying, though, that any pretense of having this be a logical, in-step piece of continuity just kind of goes straight out the window. There's too much that conflicts. There's just too much that's too major to not have been brought up in X. It's a nice gesture. But what I'm going to say this, I'm really in these for an interesting side MK story. It doesn't bother me so much that it doesn't make sense, because I've stopped trying to make it make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would be okay with a non-canon story if I at least felt like the characters were, coming to life and it was, telling a story worth telling, but 36 issues to explain what the Reiko Accords were and do it poorly?
Oh, we'll get to that. Believe you me. We'll get to that. Oh boy.
So anyway, then we cut back to the beach on Shang's Island, and Johnny and Sonya and Kotal's crew have disembarked, and Reiko and Scarlet have come out to the beach to meet them. And Reiko says, "I was starting to worry you might not make it. If I had a daughter, if she were kidnapped, I would have been here days ago." So even Reiko knows that it's taken way too long to get to this point in the comic.
Reiko is making commentary. Reiko knows what's up. Reiko has better places to be.
So
bitch in costume, though.
Maybe you're not fit to be parents. And Johnny's just like, get fucked, Reiko.
Line of the issue. Get fucked.
Yeah, that's a good one. So then Reiko says,
with a wonderful shit-eating grin,
he basically says that his motive is he, wants to conquer the Earth, merge realms like Shao Kahn was trying to do too. And that, he doesn't need the girls. They're free to go if they want. But they probably don't want, because they come out and they're possessed by the blood code. Abacab. We'll get to this more later, but they never actually explain what the blood code is. Like, when you use the word code, it implies, like, a set of laws or rules or, like, some kind of behavior. Like, is this the blood god's Bible? Like, these are his 10 commandments is what the blood code... No, they never... It's just a term they keep throwing around because, hey, remember that thing from the video game?
I am seriously waiting and praying and hoping. No, not really. But I know what's going to happen. Someone is going to call someone a dullard. You know it. For the younger folks that may not know what dullard is, down, up, left, left, A, right, down on the Genesis was the debug code in MK1 to unlock all the hidden options and secrets and whatnot. And when we say abacab, abacab was the code to enable blood on the Genesis MK1. The more you know. Just in case some of you guys out there didn't know that.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, that was almost 25 years ago.
We are old.
We are old. We are so old.
We are the elders sitting around the fire and telling stories of the bright days when birds flew in the sky and the people, the combatants, they lived and walked. All right, issue 25.
Yep.
You want me to take this one for a bit?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right. So, written by Sean, art by Dexter Soy, colors by Veronica Gandini. So, we got a showdown on the beach. And, Reiko, nothing makes me happier than bringing families together. Womp womp. Oh, Reiko, you smarmy bastard. So, we've got Sonia here, and she's pleading with Cassie to come home, and, of course, Cassie's blood code fueled response is basically, get fucked, Sonia.
I kind of like what her actual line, which home, the base or the bachelor pad?
I have issues! Anyway, we go over to Jackie here, and she's kind of upset about having to listen to Cassie drone on and on all the time. Maybe the blood code just brings out what you're really feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of... I think it's similar to, like, the Revenants, where they wouldn't normally be evil, but they're evil for reasons that are actually true to the characters. Like, Liu Kang being super mad that, like, the Elder Gods are bullshit and that Raiden killed him.
The usual kind of brainwash... Well, the usual kind of sci-fi magic-style spells and sorcery removes inhibition, increases anger and rage, makes you brutally honest.
Yeah.
Which is the most unkindest cut of all to family.
Well, I mean, while we're talking about the Revenants, I mean, Noob Saibot is supposed to be the same kind of thing as them. And that's really always been his deal. Like, Bihan's not possessed, he's not, like, under an influence. That's just the evil within him, free from morality. He just stopped caring about being a good person and decided to admit he's an asshole. So that's what Noob Saibot is. But the thing is, Noob went to hell because he's supposed to go to hell, because he was a bad guy. Liu Kang was a good guy whose soul got stolen.
And they're basically the same thing at the end of it.
Mm.
Alright, so, let's see. We're fighting, and we're fighting. Haha, you're grounded. Okay, and we cut over back to Jackie versus Johnny. Accusing her dad of hiding on the farm, calling him a coward as a role model. Some nice little scenes here, some nice little action.
Yeah, I like that he's about to say, whoever's controlling these girls, you're about to get caged, but then he gets punched in the mouth.
Yep. Oh, God. And
yeah. Koda is hacking through hordes. He's basically Sauron at the beginning of Lord of the Rings here.
Still relying on the Red Dragon to fight all your battles, and Jesus, honestly, 25 of them or something in a single shot? Just dead Red Dragons left to right as far as the eye can see, Devore ripping them apart, and more gore porn, there's a heart being ripped out, and...
The next page we get a couple fatalities. Kotal's ripping out a heart. Devora's bugs are eating somebody's face.
Poor Red Dragon. I hope they're paid well.
Mm.
Scarlet with a golf clap. Being very, very, very nice, and Again, wearing something completely fucking different than what
this
she
panel
showed
she's
up
wearing
in.
her MK9 outfit.
Yep. Just change it on the fly.
And the very next page, it's back to the plug suit.
Stealth armor. Jesus fucking Christ, people.
Is she just shape-shifting every page for fun?
Did she just flicker in and out between seconds? Some sort of weird Silent Hill effect going on here?
There's some weird shit. We are crossing timelines as we read.
Alright, so now we've got our next 2-on-2. We're going to have Reiko versus Kotal Khan and Scarlet versus Devora. This one will bleed Scarlet dry. And there's some bragging back and forth. You've always envied the power, but you barely scratched the surface of the power of the blood magic. Blah, blah, blah. If you had my ambition, godliness could have been yours. And he breaks Kotal's sword in half.
Yeah, he chops right through the old paddle. And I want to complain here, this entire comic, nobody has drawn the paddle like it looks in the game. They all draw it like one of Cloud's swords from Final Fantasy. It's just gray metal.
Yeah, seriously.
It's never red wood. It bugs me because I love the paddle.
But again, credit where credit is due. These are nice looking stills. I'm a fan of the one where Kotal's jumping at Reiko with the sword at his back. It's good.
It's there's good motion. It's that's what you want in comic art.
Definitely. And we have Reiko doing a like I can't even. There's no other word for it. This is a Shoryuken.
Oh yes, it is absolutely a Shoryuken.
And I'm trying to read what the hell the sound effect says, but I can't actually make it up because it just...
I think it's POW. I think it's just POW.
Is it actually POW?
You know, like a splatter blood font, so it's hard to read.
I was wondering if it said Pong, and I couldn't read it correctly. Oh.
It'd be better if it did say Pong.
Like, the E looks like a sideways Wu-Tang Clan symbol, but I can see it now, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It's a W, definitely. Okay. Po. Alright, Shoryuken. And Scarlet takes advantage of Devora's distraction to stab her. And, again, a nice little moment here. I actually thought this was a pretty cool touch. As Devora removes the blade Scarlet stabbed her with and says, "Your skin absorbs strength through blood. Chitin blood is especially strong and highly toxic." So that answers a question I kind of had. I think that we actually discussed this earlier on. What kind of effect would Devora's blood have on Scarlet? Not a good one.
Apparently it's poisonous to her.
Yeah.
He sprays her with it, and Scarlet acts like she's going to throw up.
Blag is the word bubble.
But then Devora jumps at Reiko, and he just grabs her and rips her in half down the middle.
It's just a flesh wound, folks. She'll be okay.
And, I gotta say, I mean, I don't disbelieve that she has the power to come back from this, which we know she does because she's in the game. And then no spoilers there, okay? But if everybody can, like, regenerate from wounds this grievous, how do you kill them? Like...
I just, I figure in Devora, for Devora, it's probably a special case, I guess. Maybe she's the queen of her race, and
her body is a hive. She's sort of like Ermac, except made of bugs instead of made of souls.
I figure her brain's intact because he doesn't exactly rip her in half. He takes her.
Yeah, that's true. Her head is still intact on one of the halves.
It's basically like a Transformer rule here.
It's from crotch to shoulder rather than crotch to skull.
Yeah. So stretch of the imagination, but I can see it. It would make some sense.
But anyway, she's out of the fight.
Yep. She's a pile of bugs on the ground. And, Reiko offers Kotal his chance at surrender. "You've stolen my family, my blood magic, my comrades. But without Melinia's Edenian lackey, you cannot steal my son."
Yep, and his tattoos start to glow yellow. He's powering up.
Just picturing Len steal my sunshine here in the background as Rain recovers on a hospital bed. And Scarlet slowly gets up and watches the two of them exchange some blows, but then there's a noise. And they, with their glowing eyes and all, turn around.
I don't know what this noise is supposed to be. It's spelled Bahoon. So it's
it's
like a loud banging. Is it supposed to be like the beating of drums or a cannon fire?
I believe it's horns.
Horns. That makes sense.
It's like Shokan war horns, pretty well.
Fair enough.
So, yep, the next party has arrived. It's Melina and her and her Tarkatan hordes, I guess. Yeah, so it's Tarkatan horns for the hordes. And I kind of love Reiko's face here on this right panel as he says, "Now it's a party." He looks like fucking Bison in the Street Fighter cartoon.
That's true.
Yes!
That's true.
And Kono's face right below it. Damn you all. He looks miserable. Just some unfitting facial expressions here.
Yeah.
It's kind of wonderful.
Rico is making a straight-up Joker face. He is very happy.
Alright, so we get Melina coming down off the boat and saying they don't have her permission to kill each other. It's her privilege. And got a nice little group of Tarkatans backing her up as she comes off the boat. It's a pretty cool scene.
It's a good entrance.
It is. For this, we go into number 26. And scrolling down a little bit. Melina, says Scarlet, this is awkward. Does everyone have innuendo with Melina? Everyone?
Well, it wouldn't be MKX related if people weren't having sex. That's the way I look at it.
But honestly, so Scarlet gives her a little bit of a spiel about Reiko losing faith in you and turning to her, and
yeah, I didn't know they were boning until this page. Like, they weren't drawing that part.
Apparently, Reiko...
Like, they were not shy about drawing Reiko making out with Melina and frowning the whole while, like, oh god, please stop. But they couldn't draw him and Scarlet in bed, no.
Maybe things with Scarlet are spicier, more tentacle-filled, adventurous.
I wish you hadn't put that thought in my head.
I live to serve, ladies and gentlemen. So Melina, in a kind of unbelievable moment, actually tries to talk some sense into someone. Is this real life?
It's something. I don't know if it's in character, but it's something.
I'm curious about this. Now, don't get me wrong here. I like what I'm seeing, because MKX did portray Melina as not what MK9 portrayed Melina as.
She was grown up some, that's true.
I think that they hurt us a little bit on that one. It's like, settle down a little bit.
Maybe it's something you can only express when you hear her voice, because she has that, like, throaty, like, my voice is constantly cracking because I'm a crazy person voice, but even older, smarter Melina still comes off bipolar to me.
Yeah.
Not so much in the comic. Pretty much reasonable all the time, which is... I don't know.
I've been trying to read in a crazy voice. Reiko is only loyal to himself. He'll betray you. No, it just still sounds like good advice as delivered by a slightly unhinged person. Oh.
Yeah.
So,
anyway.
Scarlet's summoning up some blood balls here. Tossing him. He's empowered me. And
they look more dangerous when they're drawn glowing than they do in the game where they're just red bubbles.
It's true. I guess it's because of the blood magic. But it's
I believe it's magical and explosive now.
Pretty well. So it's a nice hulking Tarkatans coming to our rescue. There's a huge lanky one here with some, like,
I
nice
gotta give him
horns
credit for not drawing 3 Barakas. Like, this guy clearly has different blades.
It's definitely really cool. This one guy here is, like, got the horns on his back and, like, 2 blades out of each side of his forearm. Definitely nice. They look very orcish.
The other one who doesn't have blades at all. He's just holding a dagger.
I could see that. It's really cool. Seriously, variation among Tarkatans. More of this, yes, please.
It would be nice if they had a little hair or something. I don't know. More in the face area.
I don't know. I feel like at this point it's kind of an unwritten rule that they're all bald, but Tarkatans with beards, I don't know how that'd look.
I've seen him, like, there was the tall guy with the mohawk in the challenge tower, wasn't there?
Was there?
I feel like it.
Maybe.
I'll have to go back
I
and
guess a mohawk I could see.
Yeah, like, I feel like they'd have weird tufts in places, like...
That's fair.
You know, they're supposed to be mutants.
But I couldn't see them with, like, long hair or anything. That's kind of like Melina's shtick, you know?
Yeah.
She's the exception to the rule, and I think visually her hair is a big part of that, actually.
Yeah. So anyway, these Tarkatans rise to protect Melina, and Scarlet kills him with her big tentacles.
It's a nice moment of awesome. Scarlet doesn't get that many.
It is nice to see the tentacles, like, that those weren't forgotten.
It's a good touch. So, Melina goes, "You're not empowered, you're his puppet," and we get some nice purple, pew, sigh effects here, so she actually tossed them like in the game.
Yep.
Nice little line from Scarlet here. "I am as much Shao Kahn's daughter as you are, half-breed." So that's pretty cool.
They acknowledge that, because I've been saying that since MK9 came out. Like, how is she not Khan's real daughter? He actually made her.
Yeah. Honestly, good to have some acknowledgement of that. "I will share my throne with Reiko. Immortals in the blood code. Bound by..." And I'm just, like, picturing the fucking Immortals Techno Syndrome song here. Anyway, "bound by..." Huh? Nope. Ermac says, "Fuck you. Bound indeed. The honor is yours, Melina."
He holds her in place as Melina does the teleport kick and then follows it up with that ball roll brutality that destroys your shins. And,
I think that's our first actual brutality from MKX.
Yeah.
That's,
Unfortunately, remember where we were saying before that they work too hard to put game terms into the dialogue?
Yes. Brutality won't kill me. Oh my fucking god, seriously. Stop
I can only handle
that.
so much cheese.
Stop.
A little bit lactose intolerant at this point.
So we cut away from Melina threatening to torture Scarlet to both Reiko and Kotal offering some commentary as they're apparently just sort of watching the chick fight.
Yeah, right? They've clearly stopped beating up each other to play JR and King.
Earthrealmers say, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned."
By God, Kotal, she is broken in half.
If I was more adept with my wrestling commentary, not having watched for real in like 10 years, I contribute more to that, but I can't.
It really hasn't changed much.
"Hell hath no fury like the blood god. Big knee to the face. The god you can never be. My god, is that even legal?" So yeah.
Reiko's got him in a headlock and just keeps wailing on his face.
I can almost see him stomping the ground to add to the effect of the punch.
So then Ermac summons up Shao Kahn's hammer for Melina to use.
Daddy's hammer. The Empress does not need practice. And wha-bang! To the side of Reiko's head goes Melina with Shao Kahn's hammer. And his eyeballs and his brains are all flying and gushing everywhere.
Yeah, there's an eyeball. It's funny that it has a blue iris, because his eyes are glowing white most of the time.
I guess it was just, I don't know, hidden by his outroll powers or some shit, or
Yeah,
maybe he just applied white makeup directly
How would you know it was an eyeball if it didn't have a pupil?
Honestly. Maybe it could have been ice cream. Reiko's head was filled with wonderful, delicious taste.
I do like the dialogue here. Only Shao Kahn's heir could kill a man on her first swing. And then Ermac, doing his best impression of the announcer from Soul Calibur, says, "Reiko's not dead, his soul still burns."
And it's time for us to start going full-on John Carpenter here, as Reiko's face begins reforming. Very nasty, but it's a cool image. If the blood code sustains him, he'll rise again. And Melina and Kotal start facing off, and they agree to have a little bit of a truce to deal with Reiko, and then they're going to deal with each other afterwards. And we cut out to sea. Let the misidentification of Shao Kahn begin. I don't know what this is, but I think I saw it on He-Man Masters of the Universe. But they're telling me it's Kintaro, so I'll go with it.
Yeah,
it looks like a fox.
I'm gonna go with miscolored Panthro from Thundercats.
Yep, I can buy that. Miscolored Panthro, number 1, sure. No, honestly, I couldn't even start counting them. There's too many.
I like the porn stash on this other Shokan he's talking to.
Oh god, I hadn't even noticed. I thought it was just shading into and his mouth was open.
No, that is a mustache, sure.
Sweet
It is drawn like hair. It is thick and bushy.
So, Kintaro playing Pirate Captain, looking forward to crushing Reiko on the same day. In the next panel, this is clearly a completely different face from the one he was just wearing. The nose is a different color. Let's see, the ears are slanted at a different angle, and they're shorter. Oh, God. Yeah, but here we go. Shokan sitting right here. He does have a full porn stash.
Oh yeah, this guy is straight up Tom Selleck in it.
And he's even making a dirty joke. As Kentaro says, not sure what to make of Melina saving Kotal Khan's life. Maybe she wants to get stabbed by his Makwa Hutul. Everyone on the ship laughs because dick jokes. Shokan loved them some dick jokes.
Nice one, Smokey and the Bandit.
Honestly. And cutting into this jolly revelry is Shiva telling them that Reiko has acquired the power so deadly that enemies are banding together and yada-da-da-da.
Queen Shiva. Is this the first reveal that she has been named Queen?
Yes, it is.
With Gorbak dead and Goro banished?
Yep. And holy shit, do I love it. I really do. I don't know whether I'd take the costume in a game, but I love that she's Queen of the show.
I would like a more detailed version of it.
Like, the colors are kind of clashy, but I like the headdress.
It's supposed to be gold and red, which is what Shiva already wears.
Maybe it's the black tights that throw it off.
Yeah, I don't know about the pants. There's probably something better you could do there. But
in any case, though, I would not mind seeing...
It's a costume that was invented for the comics, so it's a little plain, naturally, but...
I would take it in the future or something like it. It's a good basis
to build on for a game costume.
Something like it. Okay, so the fox that looks like Kentaro, Let's see what else is going on here, and she's advising them to keep a strategic opportunity, and this one guy, while we watch, can we wager on the battles? Yes, and Shiva bets on Kotal Khan, and they all hail her. Shiva knows how to treat her men right. It's awesome.
It's a nice look at Shokan culture.
It is. I like this. These last two pages have done a pretty good job of painting Shokan pretty well, I think. And Shiva delivers her little rousing words to her men. We will honor our commitment to Kotal, but battle conditions aren't in our favor. We may avenge his death rather than saving his life. And Kentaro just looks like someone's petting him behind the neck. He looks so adorable.
This is the face you make when you're purring, yes.
He's a cute little bitty kitty. Oh shit, what the hell? He looked like a fox 3 minutes ago. Now he looks like an overgrown kitten. So, entrance to the Sky Temple.
Which is in the mountains now instead of the dead woods. How about that?
This thing fucking gets around, doesn't it?
Oh, Lord.
Nice weather. That's concerning, actually.
Yep, so...
What?
You didn't mention... It's Takeda. Takeda is entering the Sky Temple.
What would Hanzo do? What would Hanzo do? What would... Shit! And Lord Fujin.
Fujin, stabbed through the stomach and pinned to the wall by his own staff. And this is, suddenly he's wearing the MKX costume now, so... Which is nice. I like it way better than the Armageddon look. I just wish we'd gotten to this point sooner.
You know who stabbed him, though?
Yeah.
It was Ed Boon.
Yeah.
How dare you fucking think for a second you'll be in this game? Get your goddamn Armageddon outfit back on! What's wrong with you? So no. Raiden is responsible for this, apparently. He's possessed and he took the Kami Dogu. Takeda offers to help him, but he's like, I'm fine. Shouldn't see how I heal my wounds. Just leave me here. I'm good. He's so easygoing, Fujin is. Doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he's a chill guy.
So, Raiden
Whichever way the wind blows, you know what I'm saying?
So we've got to intercept Raiden. He knows not what he does, because he's crackling with red and energy and lightning. And Takeda already knows that Raiden is not the real threat. Havoc is. And this ends number 26. Oh my god. How many do we have to get through?
There's only 10 to go. There's only 10 to go.
Jesus fuck, we have covered. Oh god. Ow, it hurts. Alright, I will keep going for a bit longer. We'll do this in shifts. Chapter 27. Well, you see, there actually is the advantage that a couple of these are just nothing but straight fight scenes all the way through.
Yeah, that's a relief at some points.
So we cut back to the battle on the beach, and Sona telling Johnny he's got to hit back, and he can't hit Jax's baby. Boom! Sonic rings. And Jackie tells him not to fight back.
Sonya really has no problem at all hitting the kids.
Nope. Just whacks her own little one with some sonic rings. She's made of sterner stuff than Johnny is.
It's tough love. You gotta be disciplined.
Art's looking pretty good here, actually. I don't know why Johnny seems to be crying in this one panel, though, after Jackie gets hit off of him.
He has been repeatedly hit in the face, I'm thinking, so...
Maybe. This blood coat business didn't just possess the girls. It's given them super strength. Hee, says Jackie.
I like Johnny's line here. Shades on, gloves off, and then he shadow kicks her in the face.
I do have to say that entire last page felt completely unnecessary. Meanwhile...
I think it's just to establish, like, Johnny didn't realize that they were stronger and could take a hit.
I guess. I just feel like that could have been done, like, maybe a panel or something. I don't know, I don't need a whole page for it.
Yeah, well...
Meanwhile, Yakety Sax is playing as Reiko continues to get the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, apparently Koto and Melina are just killing him over and over again because they figured the only way to make him stay dead is to exhaust the blood magic until it, quote, swallows his soul. So,
some Evil
Dead by Dawn. Dead by Dawn.
Paddling, hammering, Dead by Dawn.
But then he gets up and throws, I don't know, drops of blood at them? Some kind of red streaks.
I think that these are like blood shurikens, but they're not really shown as such. It's the only thing that makes sense considering his past move list.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see shurikens.
So yeah, he's still getting up and his face is slowly reforming, and Ermac tries to take him out, and...
He teleports through it, and I wonder... It would have been nice if they drew it more clearly like he was doing the spinny move from MK4.
That's the impression I think that they were trying to go for, but it didn't really work.
It's sort of like it's a motion blur, and the sound effect is whoosh, which is pretty much, it made a whoosh noise in MK4 because he was just moving really fast.
If they'd crossed his arms coffin pose style, you'd know what was going on here.
Yeah.
At least long-standing fans would, anyway. I am the vessel, Reiko says. My blood rains. And he uses Ermac as a whirling battering ram, and...
Yeah, he grabs him by the ankle and just slams him into the others.
Yep. Then he whips out one of the Kamidogu and says, "See anything familiar? It must pain you to lost such a rare weapon." And he's just slashing the crap out of them with a blade. And so now is the moment where we get the untold origin of Reiko's MKX comic persona.
Yep,
It's a nice one.
Conquests ago, in what's called the Korean Temple. Now, if you never watched the TV show Mortal Kombat Conquest, you wouldn't know this, but the Koreans were a race of, I guess, Amazon women who sort of had bug powers, almost like Devora, but they didn't look like bugs, they looked like women.
Yeah.
And they would basically mate with guys, and then they'd, have hives of daughters, and they'd kill the guys they mated with. And they were, trying to not be invaded by Shao Kahn, was basically, they were a neutral party between Earth and Outworld in the war. And so this is a reference to that, and it's apparent, they've been defeated and conquered by Shao Kahn, and we see Reiko in his old MK4 outfit. He's burning down their church, because apparently this is a little ritual he likes to do whenever they conquer a realm. He says he likes to dominate their spirits as well as their cities.
Harsh, Reiko. Very harsh.
But there's one statue that won't crumble or burn, and it starts whispering to him over and over again, "Reiko's blood rains." And so now he's convinced that this prophecy is he's going to be, the great conqueror one day, and...
If you just whisper really nice things to Reiko...
Yeah, right, just 3 words over and over again. I wonder what would have happened if it said he must win.
Oh god, the different game we would have had. Seriously, though, I'm going to come back to this later on, because as nice as this little origin is, I have a major problem with it because of an image it puts in my head. The only way this makes sense. But we'll come back to that.
Alright. So then we're in Shao Kahn's throne room, and this must be during MK9 because Quan Chi is there.
And I'd like to point out that Shao Kahn here appears to have taken Casey Jones's face mask and slapped it on underneath his helmet.
To be
what
fair,
the fuck is going on here?
It's a small, like, they're in the distance. It's okay to sort of fudge the details when you're...
I don't know, man.
It's not great, I'll give you...
There's levels of detail fudging, and I think that this is just a step.
It does look like Casey Jones's hockey mask.
Alright, so
apparently he's naming Reiko his heir, like adopting him, which I don't know how that jives with Kitana and Melina's backstory.
At this point, Shao Kahn's basically like a Morton Joe. He's got many heirs.
And again, if Reiko was officially named Khan's heir, then why does he need to sleep with Melina? Can't he just claim the throne?
Theoretically. One wonders why he doesn't just try to kill them all right outright.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But he swears this happened. But, like, apparently the thing that stopped him from ascending to, what he thought was his destiny to become, like, the heir to Shao Kahn was the fact that Quan Chi showed up and deceived Khan and got him killed in MK9. Because, like, it even shows Reiko, like, spying on that final scene from the end of MK9 where Quan Chi is holding Khan's helmet and talking to the purple hologram of Shinnok.
Again, nice little way to include him. Pretty cool.
Yeah. It would have been nice to see him somewhere in MK9. Like, just a little cameo. But
at this point, I was kind of hoping that we get maybe a tie-in to, like, Reiko serving Shinnok and whatnot a la MK4, but...
yeah,
we've just apparently tossed that entire angle out the window to the mists of time, it seems.
This timeline's version of Reiko never worked for the Brotherhood, I guess. Whatever.
A shame.
I like him better as a Brotherhood guy, but can't win them all. So anyway, Reiko decides that if he can't rule, he's going to kill himself. So he goes to some forest to commit seppuku. It's Mortal Kombat, so let me be the cheesy guy and say harakiri.
I just kind of really hope this wasn't the living forest, though. It doesn't seem to be.
None of the trees have faces, so there's that.
Is it?
And I will give the comic credit for they didn't use the word harakiri, so...
Thankfully. They could have, and they didn't. So, if you're killed in the forest or by the forest, you become the forest, that would be really shitty. Reiko doesn't deserve that.
That's true. So he's about to kill himself, and then Havoc shows up and says, do it. He loses everything, has everything to gain.
Gets me hot.
Yeah, right? Go ahead, I want you to do it.
So I abandoned my realm and ventured across the void, following a prophecy sung by a goddess. Reiko's blood reigns.
Yeah, so he's all like, you heard the voice? I heard the voice,
do you hear people whispering? I keep hearing people whispering. You know how many years I've been out there trying to find someone who's also hearing whispering.
When I look at Havoc, I think that guy hears whispering.
Even if none of these events had actually taken place, I could see Havoc doing this for a couple of years. Getting up, leaving his post. Do you hear whispering? Do you? I do sometimes.
I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.
They tell me to burn things. Alright, so Reiko goes, who are you? And Havoc introduces himself and says that your blood will reign, Reiko, because I know what the voices were whispering about, but first, it must run! And he stabs him with a Kami Dogu dagger.
Yep, gives him a taste of blood magic.
Yep.
And then we're back to the present, flashback over.
Yep, back to the present, and everything he's done since has led him to this moment. His prophecy will be fulfilled at last. And of course, Kotal's disagreeing with him and saying, as Havoc himself decreed, first your blood will run. And they immediately get set to hacking him to bits and pieces again.
Kotal chops off his shins, and Ermac rips off his head, and Melina stabs him open and his guts fall out.
Just how many ways can you simultaneously kill a dude? They're doing it right here.
Yeah. Havoc is standing there and he's just like, dear me, that looked painful.
I'm just picturing like a British zombie dear me, that looked painful. So they've apparently dealt with him enough for like the next 5 seconds, and now they go to confront Havoc, and Havoc's saying that this isn't a twisted game. You people haven't any respect for your gods, as Raiden comes down from the sky, blazing red lightning and zapping absolutely everyone or everything, and Melina's taking a zap right to the boobs. Looks painful, and Havoc looks kind of appalled, actually. It's kind of an odd expression he's wearing.
Havoc is suddenly holding his Morning Star. Where did that come from?
Up his butt and around the corner.
Yeah,
It's
I guess
chaos.
that's where you keep weapons. Yeah. It came from chaos.
Chaotic places.
I bet you didn't expect me to have this.
Issue 28, in which we begin the issues where the covers are Raiden fried and screaming on the cover.
Yeah. So
the zapping and the pain and the killing and the Glaven continues, and the art's changed again, and Ermac's got a lot of his face showing in this one panel.
This issue is pencils by Igor Vitorino, inks by Eau Claire Albert, colors by Veronica Gandini. I think the colors have been the same person the whole time.
They have. So, Ermac looking like a zombie without a lot of his tape on his face here. And Havoc says, enough! The ritual calls for mortal blood, and not just any mortals, as Raiden stops and obeys his commands. He needs champions! So he commands the Red Dragons to take Reiko's body, or what's left of it, to the flesh pits for revival. And their guests will be escorted to their seats in the throne room. And shove everyone else in the dungeon, I guess. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I gotta do something with them.
So they're cleaning people up, and the Red Dragon are carting everyone off, and slowly, bit by bit, in a scene which I know would get Temp nice and randy.
Oh yeah, he'd love this.
Oh yeah. Devora forms out of the sand, out of worms, out of, like, maggots, and all this gross shit, and the wasps are just... insects forming into Devora, saying, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Nice little touch. I could see it. It's good.
It's certainly a nice horror movie scene.
Definitely. Like, there's some straight John Carpenter-esque shit going on here and there throughout this comic series. It's actually nice. Sometimes MK, I think, could stand to be a little bit grosser, but I think that
that's a graphical issue, and they're getting there. Like, the way Melina died in the game was pretty goddamn gross.
Baraka's too.
Yeah.
When it's appropriate.
Honestly, all the fatalities, like, we talked about it earlier in previous weeks as the game was coming out, but the gore is really ratcheted up in this game. Very realistic looking. Like, I haven't been grossed out like this game grosses me out since ever. Like, the reaction that old people had to MK1 is the reaction I have to fatalities in MKX.
I don't think I have that reaction quite yet, but I cringe and I wince a little bit. And just Kenchi's with the ribcage, especially. Well, it's fine. I have no frame of reference to how that would even feel, but god damn, does it ever make me feel uncomfortable. So, to the throne room, where everyone's hooked up to some kinds of tubes, and they're all gagged, and they're all lying on slabs. And everyone's in their possession thanks to Raiden. And hey, Sonya's waking up fighting to the last breath. The last drop. Because they're all being bled out into a little dais in the center. We've got...
it's sort of like I don't know, it's sort of like a fountain thing, and there's a chalice sitting on top.
Yeah, I guess a fountain's the best word for it, although it's not actually spewing up anything.
Yeah.
But our chosen champions are Kotal, Ermac, Melina, Sonya, and Johnny. I keep having to remind myself that, yes, Ermac bleeds.
Yeah, he does technically have a flesh body to contain all those souls.
He's just been portrayed as so ethereal more and more and more over time.
Yeah.
It's getting harder for me to picture him as that one fleshy-looking dude from MK3 who could teleport.
Yeah, well, I mean, he still bleeds in the game. I mean, they're not quite to the point. And
he always has. It's never changed.
It would be cool if when you punched him, like, souls leaked out instead of blood. But I'm an advocate for more of those kind of effects. Like I said when we watched the movie, I wish Scorpion really did bleed lava.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that the point's quickly coming that if they replace Ermac's blood with souls, I wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to just seeing him spout green stuff now all the time.
Yeah.
Alright, so... Havoc, what was he saying? Oh, the blood of champions is our sacrifice. So
well, before that he says, observe, there are 7 Kamidogu in existence. And I'd just like to point out, the comic never reveals what the 7th one is. Because in Deception there were only 6. And they were for specific realms. There was an Earth Kamidogu, an Outworld one, an Edenia one, Order Realm, Chaos Realm, and Nether Realm. So maybe the 7th is for Heaven, I don't know. But they never say in the comic.
Well, it's stated later on that, they have the amulet, though. Isn't the amulet also a 7th Kamidogu?
Well, no, there are 7 daggers in the comic, and we see that in some panels. But the amulet is considered an unofficial Kamidogu, because it is a weapon made by an Elder God, but it's not one of the ones that broke off when they killed the one being.
Fair enough. So it's a pretty big inconsistency then.
Yeah.
We can make a list of them. Scarlet's
they shouldn't even be daggers, because I don't remember if... I've probably pointed this out before. In the Jinsei Chamber, you can see there's like a relief on the left wall that shows the Kamidogus, and they're the symbols from Deception.
Like in the game, actually in the stage?
Yes.
Huh. I hadn't noticed that. Good eye.
You can see it even more clearly in the crypt concept art for that stage.
Well, that being as it is, I'm looking upon these daggers in a much more narrow and unsympathetic light. That's very unfortunate.
I mean, I guess you can't blame Kittleson for not knowing that there was, a stage in the game that would screw with his idea, but they could have provided the guy with concept art and a more up-to-date script, couldn't they? Surely that stuff was done by the time he wrote the first issue.
I really wanted to say this at the beginning of this whole thing, but I probably should right now. I give Kittleson a lot of credit for doing what he's done with this comic. But, God, do I ever agree with that statement? I wish that they had given him more to work with, and maybe this stuff wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, like, the problems that I have with the comic's writing are mostly not his fault. It bothers me that it seems like there was little to no communication between him and NetherRealm Studios.
Which is, sadly, what I was kind of expecting and praying wouldn't happen, but here we are.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. You give me a choice, I will still take having this comic over not having this comic. I've wanted an MK comic for 20 freaking years now, or something like that, and just to have something to read, to follow this universe that I love so much, every other week or every other month or so, is a nice thing.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's, it's out there. There's Mortal Kombat out there that people can, and, it sells really well, so it's, it's keeping the brand alive and helping, bring it back to the way it was in the 90s. I was never, mad at the Malibu comic for existing either. And,
No.
You keep hoping that as long as this stuff, keeps going and it keeps the brand in people's minds, that brings us closer to having movies and TV shows and stuff like that again.
And now I'm looking at this comic now, and I'm thinking the same thoughts that I had all those years ago. I'm like, I wonder if this could make it into the games at some point. I wonder if that can make it into the games at some point. Would I mind seeing, Reiko come back and dressed like he is in this comic series? Absolutely not, because I kind of like the way he looks here. It's pretty cool.
There are some cool elements of... We haven't gotten to his new costume yet. He doesn't have it yet in this issue, but... We'll get there.
So, Reiko is our vessel, says Havoc, as they have his, I guess, comatose or unconscious body sitting up on Shang's old throne.
Yeah, I think he's just got his eyes closed like he's meditating.
I don't remember the issue very, very well, and to see that in the nenext one...
Well, two pages later,
right.
He takes a drink out of that cup, so he's not unconscious.
Right. I remember thinking that they did, that's some number on his body or whatever. But yeah, he is just probably meditating. Okay, so... Today we unleash a god. Now, here we have Havoc acting unusually prickish. Your daughter cried for Mama when I tortured her, Sonia. When this ceremony ends, you'll cry too.
Yeah, see, this is, like I was saying, he's just kind of a bad guy. Like, he's not... Like, there are occasionally lines where he says, like, a funny thing, or a thing a guy who's chaotic neutral would say, but I don't think that for most of this comic his characterization is consistent with deception.
That's not a line I can ever actually see
Like, I want the guy
say.
who thanks you for punching him.
Seriously. This is generic bad guy dialogue. Haha, look at how cruel and spiteful I can be.
Yeah, this is
Come on.
this is not unpredictability, this is meanness. That's a different thing.
So yeah, losing a point there with me for that one. Drink, Reiko, fulfill your destiny. And Reiko takes the cup and says, to godliness. Slurps it down, none too gracefully. Proclaims he's ready. And Havoc says, very well, let us declare Reiko's blood reigns as they begin to stab the shit out of him.
Yep,
So you got like Cassie, Jackie, Raiden, and Havoc all stabbing the crap out of Reiko with all the kami dogus, just willy-nilly. It really kind of looks like Jackie's about to go for his groin, but anyway. And there's a terrible...
think Havoc's aiming for his ass.
This is going right up there. There's no mistaking that angle.
That would
That's
be
going
chaos.
down and then right around and up. Actually, Raiden looks really uncomfortable in this panel. I don't like what I'm doing. Don't make me put it up there. You're really gonna do that to him? No. There's a terrible tumult and a nice little...
Yeah, there's like a blood-red tornado around Reiko's body as he transforms.
And all of our
like...
bound and gagged champions are looking up as this happens, as Reiko's flung back into the throne, as you know, rules dictate whenever there's a throne in the room and you're swept up by something, you typically do fly right back into it. This always happens.
Yeah, if you're gonna fly back, it's good to have a chair right there.
Yep. So after your typical moment of face down in shadow as the terrible things happen and changes occur within him, Reiko grabs Havoc by the throat and got that nice little Joker look again. It's actually a really nice little face panel here that it's a good look for him. It's well drawn, this one. As he says, he's died enough today, thank you, and as the blood god rises, others are now due for a sacrifice in the name of Reiko. This whole ritual just seems really vague and ill-explained.
Yeah, I don't know why he needs to drink the blood of champions. I thought that just the blood magic and the Kami Dogu stabbed into him was how it... I don't know.
I figure that's enough, but no, now I'm also going to drink their blood.
Yeah, now we
Is
have
the
to
ritual
sacrifice
over?
them on top of everything else.
Meanwhile, Sky Temple, Jinsei Chamber. Yay, Fujin! He's back to being happy. He's back to being himself.
Pretty sure they're still drawing it like Zordon's command center. There's not much of it on panel, but...
I can see the crazy angles and whatnot. So Fujin's better. He says he could tear down a mountain. Hopefully in combat past Season 2, folks. Hopefully. And he thanks Takeda for giving him a hand. And Takeda says he's got a plan. He's going to start by following Raiden's trail to the island. But, sigh indeed. Because of his contract with NetherRealm Studios, Fujin cannot take place in any... He cannot attend any interesting events. He cannot leave.
How dare you expect Fujin to fight?
Why
Don't you know who he is?
Why should the almighty and all-powerful god of wind be allowed for 1 fucking second to take part in main events? What is this? MK4? Oh, wait. Anyway, so, his station is here, protecting the Jinsei. But the Kamidogu, oh, they're in enemy hands already. What happened to tearing down mountains? Well, it sucks, but if I abandon this place, I'm abandoning all life on Earth. You'll just stand here while people die? A god's duty must be to the greater good. And I kind of like this because Takeda's kind of criticizing the entire history of the Elder Gods here, in a way, isn't he? Why aren't you there? As far as the human perspective goes. You know? So bullshit like that is why Hanzo hated Raiden. But Fujin redeems himself slightly here. I said I can't come with you. Not that I won't help you. So, this is where Takeda gets gear. A traditional mask of the Shiryu, which is apparently the lower half of a skull's face.
Yeah, apparently they were doing skull-themed stuff before Scorpion became undead.
Apparently.
I kind of feel like that's a strain. They didn't have to go there.
So, Fujin gives him the skull mask, and apparently a lot more high-tech gear.
Yeah, he finally gets his whips from the game.
Mm-hmm. Hanzo taught you about striking from a distance. He taught me to fight, not for vengeance, but for justice. And the look on Fujin's face here, if he wasn't saying by the power of the Jinsei go forth into battle, I'd swear that face is saying, dear God, someone stop this clusterfuck of design! Don't let it leave this temple! God. This last panel doesn't have me convinced. It just really doesn't. There's something off about it.
Well, I'm gonna blame Takeda's hair.
The hair? You think it's the hair?
I think it's the hair.
Yeah, it's... yeah, it needs a hood or something. I don't know. The hair does look too short. It's just...
It's kind of... He looks like Wolverine went to the barber and it came out all wrong.
It doesn't look like he's actually wearing a skull. It looks like he's just wearing, like, a piece of cloth with a skull painted on it. I don't know. There's just...
Yeah, it's weird.
There's altering thirds of separate designs going on here. I would not take this. No, thank you. Next issue. Oh, I need to get some point.
So before we get there, I just want to point out, like, so Fujin said that he got the mask from the Shiryu. He didn't say where he got the whips from, did he? Like, are we supposed to assume those are also Shiryu gear? Because in the game, if you fight, like, Jax versus Takeda, Jax says, I built those.
Which is, yes, the truth.
So,
There's absolutely no reason that Fujin should be giving him this shit.
Who do you think built your tech? Which means Takeda didn't know. He just grabbed some random stuff that the Special Forces had. Which is weird because he's only been in the Special Forces for, like, not long, and he had the whips in the flashback where he became a Chunin.
Which explanation do you like better?
I don't know. I like the idea that Jax built him because Jax is the tech guy, and the Shiryu wouldn't have had technology.
I like the explanation that Fujin gave him to him because it gives Fujin something cool to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with Fujin giving him to him. I just
but it doesn't actually make sense. It's true.
Fujin stole these things from the Special Forces just because, hey, this guy needs a weapon. It's kind of a funny image to me.
I don't know. Maybe after Jax died, No. He's alive again by this point. Never mind. Ugh.
Well, he's also retired as soon as he came back from the dead, but the point is, like, the whole time Jax was in the Special Forces, he was, like, the engineer guy, on top of being the leader.
From the moment that I took a look at these whips, I kind of figured to myself that this is something that this would be something that the Special Forces or Jax himself would have actually constructed, like the arms or whatever. It really doesn't make any sense for Fujin to be giving him this stuff. But
yeah, it's random, so I guess we're supposed to assume that those also came from the Shiryu. I just don't like the idea of Scorpion's ancient, traditional, feudal Japan-themed ninja clan building mechanical Omega Red whips.
Just another bit of MK lore that's just going to be forever left completely unexplained to our satisfaction, isn't it?
It's fine, whatever.
Just one of many.
Yeah.
Issue 29. This is going a bit faster than I thought it would. We're almost there. Almost. So Reiko always imagined that the power would rejuvenate him, but he feels older, ancient, like it's been trapped in him all along, clawing at the walls of my breast. And his armor starts forming onto his shirtless body.
The Kamidogu sort of melt into him and
Yeah.
become a costume.
Yes, and so this next panel, this next like full page here, gives us Reiko's new Blood God outfit. And I gotta say, I would be personally all over this if not for the fact that the Kamidogu are still sticking out of him.
Yeah, they look like, they're just sort of these big, pointy, random handles coming out of his body. They're almost like if you were into sharp dildos.
I wasn't going to make the dick joke. They're too pointy to be dicks. They do look like handles. But in the hands of worse, or like ill-defined like panels, they do, and I think that they probably will look like dicks at some point. But anyway, you can't really see it from this first one, but there's supposed to be two coming out of like each side of his collar, which would be nice for some symmetry, but they still look damn odd.
Yeah, they're okay as like big shoulder spikes, but he has randomly one coming out of his chest, another coming out of his ribs.
If not for those, I would take this in a game, because I actually really like this outfit. It's cool on him.
Yeah, it's alright. It's got, the top is sort of superhero-y, like just a big red stripe down his torso. He's got, like, the Shao Kahn skull logo on his, in the middle. And his belt is pretty much Shinnok's, but with a red jewel instead of a green one.
Maybe foreshadowing. Maybe.
I wish.
Not. Maybe not. Okay, not. And I kind of like Cassie in this panel, because she actually kind of has this weird 80s hair going on because of all the wind.
Yeah.
Looks very Cyndi Lauper.
It is. That's what I was thinking, too.
Alright, so Reiko is ravening for mortal sacrifice and delight, and we change pages, and oh god, he's got a creepy fucking forked lizard tongue.
Yeah, he's licking his lips, and the tip of his tongue has like a fork in it. It's not a big fork, but it's just...
It's just present enough to be unsettling. It's a good panel.
I will say, the one thing I don't like about this costume is that his tattoos have become a gambit cowl.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to be joined on like that.
And I just want to say, I have always hated the 90s, like, Gambit and Cyclops, the cowl that lets your hair stick out and doesn't cover any of your face and thus is useless as a mask. It's nothing but, like, cloth on the back of your head. What's the point of that? Why does it exist?
To look cool when you go on vacation.
It doesn't
Ask
look
about
cool,
the mutant discounts, mon ami.
It's just baffling.
Like Gambit. Gambit's a baffling man.
Gambit is a baffling man.
I
think there's a reason that character hasn't been big since the 90s.
They still try. You get some good series every now and then. Alright, so we got Reiko wandering around, debating who to consume or kill first or whatever. Until Havoc stops him, saying, "Pardon me, but they could be useful." Completely, utterly deflating the fact
like,
he was encouraged.
We're gonna sacrifice him, and then he says, "Wait, don't sacrifice him."
5 minutes ago! Fucking make up your mind, you wacky, chaotic son of a bastich!
Wait. Maybe that is chaos. He's unpredictable. He's in character in this moment.
Yay! Accidentally!
Accidentally, indeed.
And from here... this... No, never mind. I was thinking that, like, the handles of Reiko's outfit... I can't even say the handles of his outfit. It looks like they're bleeding, but no. It's just the altar / fountain.
Yeah, it's behind him. It's blood dripping off that fountain thing.
So what Cassie Cage could not relinquish, her family can. Johnny and Sonia are vital to my study of deadly green energies.
That's the technical term, folks. Green energies.
What the fuck? Could we not, just say, Johnny and Sonia have a power that I wish to tap into?
I wish he'd said, he like, shadow powers. Or just,
like something like
shadow
that.
magic, shadow energy. Not just green energy.
When I read deadly green energies, I had to get up and walk off for a little while. I'm not even joking. I was sitting here in Link talking to you guys as I was reading this, and you saw me type that out in caps. Deadly green energy.
I do. I remember that.
I had to get up and walk around the room. I did. Alright, so... Who would dare reject you, our emperor, after you make a public spectacle of executing your imperial enemies? So, we'll save these two and kill these ones, as he pats Ermac and tugs on Melina's hair a little bit.
Not too hard, she likes that.
But of course, Havoc knew Reiko would demand tribute, so he planned ahead. Bring in the prisoners! I'll capture on the beach while you were composing yourself.
Yeah, it's all of Melina's Tarkatan minions.
Yep. Some of them looking bound and gagged, some of them looking like Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe. This one guy here looks terrified.
He's a sad, sad monster man.
I do kind of feel bad for these Tarkatans who just kind of want to get it over with. They look so sad. So demeaned. So Reiko's taking stock of them like cattle. How many do we have? 100 strong in the dungeon. Excellent! Oh god, Reiko, you bastard. So this one Tarkatan at least gets a moment, and he spits on Reiko's face.
Before that, he's like, just do it, do it, do it.
I don't think he's telling Reiko to actually kill him. I think he's just telling himself to psych him up. Spit on him. Just spit on him.
Either way,
You're gonna die anyway. Just do it.
He's working up the nerve.
So he has a nice little last stand, this random Tarkatan number 386, as he spits on Reiko's face and tells him he's a traitor to the true Empress Melina. And of course, Reiko zaps him for his trouble. You savages can't recognize a god. Bring up the remaining prisoners, and let their sacrifice invoke the jealousy of the elder gods. And we cut back to the Shokan boat, and what the fuck is this?
Another Kintaro face. This one actually looks like MK9.
No, it doesn't. Not to me.
The top panel does, but the bottom one is just wrong.
MK9 Kintaro had the kitty nose. This is an extremely furry orange
his
face
nose
with
is
like
the wrong color again.
Really tall ears,
and
I don't. What's happening?
In one panel, he has blue eyes, like a normal person.
You know, I used to watch this show when I was a kid. It was one of those little edutational shows for TV. It was called Zoobly Zoo. I'm remembering this now after like fucking almost 30 years of forgetting that this thing existed. And it was a bunch of like guys and gals running around with like animal face paint on and like furry outfits. And that's what I'm thinking of now, looking at Kintaro. He looks like he's here to teach children to read. Ah, Christ's sakes. So, this thing that calls itself Kintaro asks what in Gorbak's ghost that was.
Yeah, there's a giant column of red light that shoots up into the sky from the island.
Where this blood sacrifice is taking place. And the Shokan are all, don't know, lol, could be anything. First thing that's happened over there.
Page, there's a guy who's straight up wearing, like, cyberpunk headgear. Like, this is some Malibu shit, this guy's design.
It actually reminds me of, like, what the, that collector guy from Mad Max 3 was wearing when he was appraising weapons and shit. It looks like that.
I can see it. My point here is that it was established in Shaolin Monks that Outworld doesn't even have ball bearings, and this guy has like a red laser eye on his goggles.
Maybe they got them through Black Dragon imports. If you don't see Black Dragon on the box, it's not Black Dragon in the box.
That's fair. That's true. I keep saying I wish they showed like Outworlders using Earth weapons more since MK3, but now I'm complaining about the cyber helmet. I guess it could be from Kano.
There is that precedent. He was weapons dealing. I'm prepared to let it pass. So Kintaro says, "Take your scouts to the island." But Queen Shiva orders, and I like how there's actually this Shokan guy actually looks like he's kind of fat and doesn't take care of himself. He's got this really chubby face. It's the first out of shape Shokan I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's also actually dressed in clothing.
So not every Shokan is a warrior.
The dude is wearing a shirt. Like, he looks like he could be, like maybe the court, like, the chemist or something like that. Like, some, like, bookish guy.
He's like the bosun or something. Or Well, he's in a position of authority, so he's got scouts. He's some sort of ranking person on board this ship. Anyway. So Kintaro with his technicalities, Shiva ordered no fighting. Scouting is not fighting. So we need to know, what in the gods' name did Havoc just unleash on that island? And we are now going full John Carpenter here, folks. We cut back to the island and Reiko is, sitting in this pool of gore and viscera. Whatever he did to these poor sacrifices, it wasn't pretty.
It's mostly just blood and bones, but there is a hand in there.
Yeah, there's this one hand. I see, a digestive tract in the background.
Yeah.
There's more than a few spines and rib cages sitting around, and there's a skull. Jesus, dude.
Shit is gross.
Whatever happened was blacked out UMK3 head rip style.
And Reiko himself is so bloody that the details of his costume are blurry.
Whatever happened was not pretty, and he wants more. More? My lord, there are none left. So yeah, he just sacrificed over 100 of them in a single blast, says Havoc as he's holding this poor Tarkatan's head with his tongue sticking out. It's kind of humorous, actually. This poor guy. But he still hungers for tribute. Patience is a virtue prized among the gods, my lord. You understand, because they're immortal. And here's where Reiko has had enough shit. Here's where Reiko starts to understand. Stop talking. What have you done to me? And he just shoves Havoc, with his... Okay, no, I couldn't even see it there. Yeah, he elbows him into a wall. The angle's weird, and I couldn't see this form for a second.
He's shoving him into a wall, and then with the other hand, he's punching through a column and, cutting it in half.
For no particular reason.
Well, he's very, very angry.
Indeed. So, what's wrong, my lord? And here's where we say adieu to one of our favorites. You told me all about the power, but not about the pain. This hunger clawing me from inside. What could make a god suffer so? And Havoc asks, how badly does it hurt? It's tearing me apart! And
you can't say that line anymore without me thinking of The Room.
Yeah.
Tommy Wiseau has ruined it.
So what's happening here is apparently Reiko is literally coming apart from the inside out. It looks like his entire ribcage has split apart facehugger style and is emerging from his chest.
Yeah, it's coming out of him.
I guess this is supposed to be very... Yeah, he's literally coming apart at the seams in a very, very gory fashion. It would make John Romero jack off a little bit, to be quite honest here. It's... Jeez. God, yeah, this is just nasty. And so, Raiden, possessed still, Raiden, Jackie, and Cassie all say in unison, with great power comes great suffering. That is the blood code.
Oh, is that what the blood code is? Okay.
Now it's defined. With great power comes great suffering.
That means so much.
What Peter Parker would say if he was being more honest with himself.
So, if I put in A, B, A, C, I'll just suffer. Okay.
Are you suffering now? Are we suffering?
I might be suffering a little bit.
Alright, so... More of Reiko is coming out now. His entire, his intestines, they're all coming out of him. He's trying to, hold them or, trying to get them back in. He's just shocked because they're all coming out. And he's can't stop, help me.
And then his face melts.
All of it. His everything melts.
His everything does melt.
This moment right here is some Indiana Jones melting Nazi tier quality imagery. You were never a candidate for godhood, my lord, says Havoc, patting him on the shoulder. Your true purpose has been as a vessel for a real god. And Reiko is just not making any more noises anymore, because I don't think he can. And we need the seed inside your brilliant mind. And he grabs Reiko by the eye sockets on the side of the head and rips his head open to remove his brain and crumble it to pieces. All was so full of surprises. Oh my. Perhaps our guests can confirm something for me, because it looks like we just summoned the Amulet of Shinnok!
Dun dun dun!
This was why they gave Reiko the blood magic. To summon Shinnok's amulet.
Because
how we do.
They set up at the beginning of the comic, Shinnok's amulet was sealed away in another dimension somehow by stabbing Raiden with all the Kamidokus.
And this was Reiko's purpose, to be a vessel. And now that Reiko is over and done with, rest his soul, I want to go back to that image of him wandering the Korean temple and hearing a voice saying Reiko's blood reigns, which we now plainly understand to be reigns in the traditional coming from the sky sense after what we just witnessed. But I want you now to picture Havoc sitting behind one of those statues just literally saying, Reiko's blood reigns!
Yeah, right.
Reiko's blood reigns! That's all I can picture fucking happening.
Yeah, like, no magic spell, he's just in the room and Reiko can't see him.
Otherwise, was he what? Receiving telepathic messages? What was going on there?
I'm sure Havoc has the capability to arrange something like that. You know, he's a cleric, they have magic powers.
It's just Havoc being who he is, that's all I'm picturing.
It is funnier to picture it as he's in the room whispering to him.
Despite the fact that it was a really nice touch to give Reiko that introduction in that temple. I can't take it seriously because Havoc fucking throwing a lampshade right the fuck over it. And thus ends this issue. Load next file. Don't worry, folks, I bought them all physically. Chapter 30. Fucking Christ. Can we do all this tonight, Razor? Is this possible?
There's only 6 left.
Alright, let's power through
We promised
this
everybody
shit.
would do it.
Alright, Alright. Blood Gods, Chapter 30. Chaos. So, Raiden and the Elder Gods believed they could hide this weapon with cloak and dagger. Literally. But it won't stay hidden like the uninvited guests among us. You get the Shokans sitting there as they try to infiltrate the area, these scouts. He's talking about us. He knows we're here. We should go back to the ship. Stay put. We haven't seen what this amulet can do. Off goes your head. That's what it can do. And so all hell breaks loose as Havoc is now fully using Shinnok's little zap energy move, and... Yep, how's that for a demonstration? You must be scouts. Why else would Queen Shiva dump runts like you on my doorstep? If she expects you to report it, we won't keep her waiting. And so here we cut back to the ship, where Shiva is giving Kintaro the business.
I told you to leave everybody on this ship. You sent scouts. I didn't tell you to send scouts. You done fucked up, Kintaro.
But if you wish to make informed decisions before fighting, you require information. And I require loyalty among my generals, so shut the fuck up.
So then they spy a boat, which is empty, except for body parts on pikes. So they know their scouts are dead.
And I actually really like this little body parts on pikes segment here. This feels very like kind of a thing that I expect to see in Outworld more often. This is my reminder here that Outworld is a very, very fucked up place. And with how they portrayed Outworld in MK10 as being very just different kind of world, nothing too special about it.
Yeah.
I think we need some reminders like this.
Yeah, like that stupid line, don't believe everything you read on the internet about the sky not being purple. The sky was fucking purple in some stages. That's canon.
Honest.
Like, look at the wasteland. There were bodies piled up and weapons and shit. Like, I want war-torn wasteland Outworld, not Khan's dead so we're at peace now Outworld.
The world couldn't just heal itself after he died. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway. Let their deaths be on your conscience, Kintaro. And Kintaro looks kind of grumpy. Poor kitty. So what's happening on the beach? And they're taking a look, and one of Shiva's dudes informs that there's some ugly bastard holding a sparkly necklace. It's getting brighter and brighter. Shiva, having a brain cell, realizes that everyone should brace for impact.
She has that the Christopher Lloyd in Star Trek 3 moment. Get out! Get out of there!
Everyone get out! And nope, ship goes down. I think Shiva got the message. Now that's a Havoc line. That's a good one.
I like the next one. How exciting would it be if that ship was carrying Explode? Boom!
Never mind.
And Cassie and Jackie are high-fiving in the back.
I think that one, yeah. This one page right here. This is Havoc.
Yeah,
this is what I expect to see.
He got him right in this moment.
But we cut back to the ocean and the wreckage. Kintaro surfaces. I can't swim!
Of course he can. He's a cat. Cats hate water. Get it?
Christ almighty God. Why does everyone hate Kintaro so much? Fucking hell!
Kintaro's my favorite Shokan. This is not pleasant for me either.
What is going on here? Why must we continually demean and debase him? And he has changed appearance again. He looks like a cougar here. This is not the same person who was on the boat 2 pages ago. Fucking hell! His whole snout and his jaw are elongated here.
He's unhinging to swallow mice whole like a snake.
So she was like, obviously you can't swim. And it's not because, I guess from Shiva's perspective, it's not because he's a cat or anything, but I'm guessing that at this point, because Kintaro's what? Renowned as a general fuck-up now? Oh, Christ. Hold still or I can't help you. Remember this. I'm sorry. I'm yours to command. Good. When we reach the island, I command you to fight. Son of a bitch, I need a stiff drink. I really do. So, let the ritual perpetually put off continue.
Yeah, now we're back in the castle, and Reiko is now actually going to stab the prisoners.
He had a blinding capacity for egotism. Think about it.
No, wait. Right here, he admits it, that he
3
didn't
words
use magic.
Whispered in the dark.
He did not use magic to, telepathically fool Reiko. He was in the room whispering. He says it right here.
No magic involved, just words and ambition.
Which is funny, because when Reiko told the scene, he was all like, there was this statue of a goddess that wouldn't burn or crumble. I couldn't damage it. It was magic, man.
Oh my god. Havoc, you magnificent bastard. You legitimately trolled someone for years. Can't we give Sean Kilson that? Can't we? Despite the bad use of him as a bad guy, can't we just give him that a little bit?
Yeah, that's fair. It's not really fair to Reiko, but
I do like the speech he has coming up. And there's some nice bits of artwork here as he starts gloating over the people he's about to stab. All champions are afflicted by the same delusion, a belief that history can be shaped by powerful individuals such as themselves. Ha! No mortal, champion or otherwise, can alter the course of history. History is shaped by larger forces, trends inherent in nature, and the greatest of these is chaos. Once you defeated Shinnok in the Netherrealm, all you champions thought you could enforce order, a fool's errand. Today you learn that order cannot resist chaos, and neither can you. So that there is basically the crux of why Havoc is doing this. And I give Sean Kilson a lot of credit for that. Havoc may be being used poorly, and he is definitely being used. We'll get to that eventually. Just pawns upon pawns. But I appreciate that he took the time, Sean did, to tie all of Havoc's ambitions into serving chaos. It's a nice touch.
It's fair. It's, like I said, there are moments. I feel like the majority, he's very generic villainy, but there are moments of Deception Havoc in here.
I don't think that he's been used.
I just wish there were more.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. I do think that these last 4 pages, though, do make up for a lot of how we've seen Havoc up until now. I think that maybe, just maybe, I don't know if it's possible, for Sean to have heard a little bit of criticisms over using the character like a generic bad guy. Maybe. So if you're listening to this for some reason, Sean, kudos to you. Thank you for that. Okay. So the stabbing
they stab
occurs.
the sacrifices, and they're all possessed by the blood code.
Dun, 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 as I skip past pages. Chaos has no emperor. Every throne is a cage.
Oh,
there are no
except
heroes.
Ermac. They don't stab Ermac.
Ah, yes. There's a reason for this. This is what we saved you for, Ermac. Raiden's cosmic barriers protect Netherrealm as much as they blockade it. By charging the amulet with your many souls, we'll punch right through the whip. It's a Spider-Man sound effect.
It is. So, one of Takeda's whips suddenly enters the frame, wraps around Havoc's wrist, and chops his hand holding the amulet off.
I have to hand it to you, Havoc. Ugh.
Now, Takeda's a guy who would make puns. That's
Fair
actually
enough.
in character. When Scorpion does it, it's stupid. Takeda's allowed.
Okay, we'll
He's
give
a
him
dork.
that one. Begin issue 31.
Well, before that, I just want to point out, really, they need Ermac's souls to make the amulet more powerful? The power of an Elder God by itself can't beat Raiden's spells?
It's a lot of souls.
But it's the power of an Elder God!
No, there really is no defending it. Ermac is now the MacGuffin. Ermac is being used along with another MacGuffin to make the Great MacGuffin.
The MacGuffining of 2015.
The Clusterguffin. The MacGuffin.
The cluster.
The MacGuffin fuck. I think that there's... Okay, if I may, there's our title for this week's episode. MacGuffin fuck.
MacGuffin fuck.
Okay. Issue 31. Sean Kittleson,
I don't know,
Dexter
I
Soy,
kind of
Veronica
feel
Dandy.
like Cluster McGuffin has a slightly smoother ring to it.
That's fair. I just like to shorten the word fuck after
Yeah,
things.
yeah, I know. It has its own charm. Just feel like Cluster McGuffin rolls off the tongue a little better.
Clusterguffin. So, issue 31. On to the beach. It's Shiva and some sort of strange hairy showcat. Oh wait, no, that's also Kentaro.
Yeah. I want to point out here, first of all, Shiva's eyes are a different color than they've ever been this whole comic.
Yes.
Also, in the top panel, her crown has like a top part to it, and in the bottom panel it doesn't.
That's pretty sloppy. I hadn't
Yeah,
noticed
like
that.
there's a
Jesus
plate that
fuck.
covers her mohawk, and then suddenly it's gone.
Oh boy. Come on, Dexter. Come on. What kind of schedule they got you running on? I feel so bad for you right now. And Kentaro probably looks like nothing so much as a shaggy dog of some kind in this panel. I don't know. Although, actually, I'm used to seeing Shiva without pupils, so to me, she looks better in this panel than Shakespeare
Yeah,
does.
I like Shokan with like blank eyes. They should be red.
Agreed. So, she looks up to here. It smells like shit. I can't tell if these bugs are feeding on her or she's feeding on them. Nasty. Let's torch the whole pile. And this was Temp's cameo in the comic.
He has the honor of appearing as a red dragon thug.
So they're about to light what they view as the remains of Devora on fire. And Shiva and Kentaro are
They're doing it with a
slowly-
lighter. They don't even have a flamethrower. It's a regular ass Zippo.
So, I mean, I can buy that because some of them are smokers.
Well, sure, but you can't light a pile on fire with a Zippo.
Maybe one of them had some gas already. I don't know.
You could maybe kill one bug at a time with that little thing.
Alright.
So anyway,
Shiva
then-
and Kentaro are slowly sneaking up on them.
Yeah.
Kentaro now looking kind of wolf-like and have kind of
there's
given up.
He's got kind of a dog face all of a sudden.
Fucking hell.
Before they get there, the Red Dragon goons are killed as the bugs jump out of the sand and punch
here it
holes
is,
through them.
folks. Do you want to say it or shall I?
Not the bees!
No, God, not the bees!
Not the bees, not the bees!
They're in my eyes! I got the bees! Ah!
He actually says, not the bees. Oh god, the bees.
Sean's been watching Wicker Man. Wicker Man, Nicolas Cage, the greatest remake ever. Do your homework and watch it. Oh, sweet Jesus, it hurts. My sides. It should come off as a totally forced and contrived reference in the middle of a comic, but it's still funny.
I'm okay with a guy who's being attacked by bees screaming, not the bees. It's obviously a reference, and that makes it funny, but...
He's doing better than the guy in the background.
If I was hit by, like, a beehive, I'd scream, not bees, oh god!
Oh, God. Okay. Are we okay now?
We're okay.
Fucking stars are the issue here.
So, after they strip the Red Dragon goons down to bone, like, literally dry-ass skeleton, they reform into Devora's body.
This one has never been so relieved to see Shokan warriors alive. Even you, Kintaro.
She hates
What
him too.
the fuck? Come on! And Kintaro here again looks like some sort of rabid wolf.
He's kind of a bear, actually, in this one.
Yeah, I can see it too. Some sort of indistinct bird. Well, not bird, no. Bear wolf thing. Still got weird pig ears.
I don't know, man. I just don't know.
Someone put a brown bag over each and every single one of the panels. Or just like his MK2 Select image. I don't know.
His MK2 Select image looked like a dude. Like a really large, muscular, bald... He had kind of almost like cat lips.
Yeah.
But he definitely had a normal-ass nose.
I was okay with that.
It was, not so over the top. He actually looked closer to, like, the same race as Goro,
I've gotten used to Kitty Kintaro.
I haven't.
If they wanted to change it back, I wouldn't complain. Just pick something and stick with it. Is all I ask.
I'm willing to fight for it. But I don't know if it's the hill I want to die on. Not in this series with all the other shit.
Yeah. So, Kotal's been being held prisoner by Havoc. Where was your ship? Punched a hole in it with our battalion on board. If it were any other day, I'd devour your gizzards. So, with great foresight, the Emperor hid emergency supplies before invading the island. Devora says we're going to find them, then we're going to use them to bring in necessary reinforcements.
And then we're back to Takeda fighting the Havoc and his army of possessed people.
Solo. Ballsy.
Yeah.
Stupid.
To be fair, Havoc is being sporting and only sending Cassie and Jackie at him.
True that. Johnny looks really weird in the background here.
And a little foreshadowing for the game for once, where Takeda says, "You two are cute, especially you," to Jackie.
Nice. Very nice.
But obviously you learn to fight for sport instead of survival. And then he slams him around with his whips and stuff.
Ha ha ha! Omega Destroyer! Seriously, that's all that panel makes me think of. There is a lot of fighting and whipping and back and forth going on here.
There's a panel here where, like, they're in a pile and he's, like, got Cassie in an armbar with his legs around Jackie's head, and it's just sort of a clusterfuck.
Quite literally.
Yeah, that's in the background as Havoc picks up his hand and just casually reattaches it.
Rope around killers, you learn to survive. As we found out when you split Forrest Fox's skull. Remember that friend of yours? Yeah, we've forgotten. I'm gonna make it hurt now.
That was so many issues ago.
Gonna go back to being Jerk Havoc here for a little while. I enjoy being a passenger in his blood. Fox cared so much for you, Takeda. All the way to the bloody end. The last thing he saw before he died was you and your sword covered in his blood. Oy. Laying it on thick, but this is actually is right here. Another one of my favorite Havoc panels. It's on a very, what's his name? Todd McFarlane. This reminds me of like a Todd McFarlane take on Havoc. It's a really, really nice sketch. I would like a black and white print of that.
The way he draws faces, I can see it.
So, Takeda slowly gets back up, as Jackie and Cass seem to be unconscious for the moment. You've killed everything that matters to me. I've got no feeling left. The final purpose of my life is fighting you. And what you said about Havoc being nice just before doesn't seem to apply anymore. Well, actually, there's all of these guys.
Yeah. I'm not the only one you have to fight, am I?
Wait a minute. Where's Millie? And for some reason, Havoc now has
Melina is missing, and he's, freaked out by this. He's making this bug-eyed face, but she just shows up to attack Takeda, like she was gone because she was teleporting. So I don't know
what was the entire point of that panel other than to give Havoc intentionally hilarious, goofy eyes?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
What was this?
Just, you know what? I kind of feel like drawing Havoc googly-eyed. Could you write some dialogue that doesn't make sense, please?
Just put a random Monty Python and the Holy Grail quote in here. Call it a little intermission. Anyway, so
all of the possessed people just team up, just beat the shit out of Takeda. I mean, Johnny gives him the nut punch. Is that necessary?
And they're all speaking to each other about how much Takeda sucks. Raiden fries his brain a little bit.
Harsh.
And we move on here as Havoc begins closing in for the kill with Shinnok's amulet. Fortunately, Hanzo's Nitro witnessed the passion of his apprentice.
Yeah, it's like he's comparing it to the Passion of the Christ, because, it's a torture scene.
It's a nice touch. And I can totally see Havoc sitting down watching movies on his couch. He probably enjoyed the Passion of the Christ, honestly.
Yeah.
I like the flaying. It was very chaotic. Messed with a lot of people's interpretations of the Bible. Pissed people off. Much chaos. 10 out of 10. Very Christ. And, again, another awesome Havoc shot here. This might be my favorite one.
Yeah, I like the effects on the amulet, because it's got the orange and purple glow from the game.
And it's white hot. The coloring really is above and beyond on this one. It's white hot, and the reflections on his face is wonderful. The lighting effects, this is great. I think that this might be my single most memorable panel through the entirety of the comic series. Is this? Yeah, definitely.
It's a good shot.
So, he gives them the villain ultimatum. Work for the Kamidogu, be an agent of chaos, or I'll send you back to hell and with Hanzo. And then there's a voice. We cut elsewhere. The fire is home now. No, the fire is my heart beating. I've got something to live for. But wrestling with you just got me killed. This is Scorpion and Hanzo.
Yeah, it's Hanzo with the quote-unquote Scorpion's voice in his head, and he's standing in, the image of his village burning down.
Although the people that are, frozen kind of really look like Shokans. Maybe it's just the artwork.
Yeah, they're supposed to be zombies, but they definitely have, monster faces that we've already seen on Outworld creatures.
It's a very, very odd choice of panel here. Anyway. And, actually, a nice little artistic touch here that they have for Scorpion, at least the Scorpion side of him.
Yeah.
His skin under the mask, it's dark gray.
Yeah, he's...
It's
completely pale and washed out like a zombie.
I haven't seen Scorpion look like that since MK1 Select Screen. And I feel like that was a deliberate choice at the time to portray Scorpion and Sub-Zero as looking a little bit inhuman, each of them, but for different reasons. Scorpion because he was dead, Sub-Zero because the guy was literally probably made of ice, or, very coldish in nature, whatever. But anyways, it was a nice little nostalgic moment for me here.
Yeah, I mean, I like it because it separates, the difference between Hanzo and Scorpion visually.
Yeah.
But, for in the games, I don't usually like his Scorpion form to be portrayed too zombie-like, because the whole concept of him as a specter is that he was actually reincarnated. And, so he was reborn. He's technically alive again when he just has these ghostly, demony powers. And that's, for example, why he can represent Earth in a Mortal Kombat tournament. Because he was reborn. He's still kind of a living citizen of Earthrealm, not a demon of the Netherrealm. Or he's kind of both, really.
Could go either way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I really do miss the pale skin on Scorpion.
Yeah. So anyway, Hanzo faces off with a manifestation of basically MK9 Scorpion, and he fucking says, "Get over yourself." And
Jesus Christ.
the other Scorpion yells his fight line, "Vengeance is mine." Because what does this have to do with vengeance exactly? Who is
because he says it
when
in
he
the
fights
game.
his own self?
I don't know, Razor. Didn't you notice that little flashback scene where they fixed the Cyber Sub-Zero problem? Didn't you see Tomas Fobat in the background screaming, "Where there is smoke, there is fire. Where there is smoke, there is fire."
Mm-hmm, all the time. That's all he says.
Ugh.
Remember all these panels in the comic where Jade shows up and all she says is, "That was too easy"?
All those panels where Jade shows up. I like reading
Yeah,
those.
right.
I like those panels.
Those are the best. She might be in season 2 if there is one. Because that's what I want. I want them to not save that for the next game and do it in the comic instead.
Really? I don't know. I'd like to operate under the delusion that they have something really big planned for Jade. It would be nice.
Yeah, right? Like, I want my Mortal Kombat Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I want that dream lady who possessed Jade in her MK9 ending to be the catalyst. Because otherwise, why have they been teasing it for 2 games in a row?
Have faith. Something will happen. Jade needs to be relevant again somehow.
I want it to happen in MK11, not in the frickin' comic.
That's what I'm hoping for. It'll be big. So, Scorpion versus Hanzo Hasashi. We have an honest-to-God mirror match.
Yeah. And we should point out, that was the end of 31. We're now at the beginning of Chapter 32, where the fight actually begins. And Hanzo throws the spear, and of course Scorpion says, "A predictable opening, Hanzo."
Oh, God.
And then he says...
The dialogue in this fight.
He says, "Victory in combat demands more than one variation." And he starts using moves from Inferno and... What was the other one called? Ninjutsu, Inferno, and...
Hellfire.
Hellfire,
the third one?
Yeah, like...
And he says, "Without Hellfire, you're just a depressed loner with a death wish."
Why deny the Inferno within? Okay, so it's right in there. Damn it.
Buy our product, buy our product, buy our product.
When he talks about Hellfire, he's lighting his hand on fire. When he talks about Inferno, he's summoning zombies to hold Hanzo down.
High sales will be mine. High sales will be mine.
So Hanzo is resisting because he says, "I turned the memories of my family into weapons." And Scorpion goes, "In order to avenge their deaths." And Hanzo says, "They were avenged long ago. An eye for an eye is not enough for my family or my clan. For them I shall burn the world." And Hanzo says, "And Takeda, you'll burn him too?" Scorpion goes, "He's already dead," and stabs Hanzo. And then we come back to...
The world! Sorry.
So we come back to Havoc zapping Takeda with Shinnok's amulet.
And saying gloriously, "Choose your destiny, Takeda." Are you hearing, like, that music in the background?
Who is this standing behind Havoc? Because I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Johnny, but it clearly looks like Sub-Zero.
It's supposed to be Johnny, but it clearly looks like Sub-Zero.
It
doesn't make
sense. Sub-Zero's fucking tunic.
Only because no one else makes sense to even be standing in that room and looking vaguely like that.
I know. That's how I know it's supposed to be Johnny. I'm just saying, it looks like fucking Sub-Zero.
Absolutely.
So anyway, Havoc is all like, "Will you join the Agents of Chaos or the Forgotten Dead?" and keep zapping him.
And Takeda mumbles something, "I choose..." And again, a good Havoc line here. "Sorry, couldn't hear you over the sizzle of burning flesh. Say again." Making me smile, making me chuckle.
Yeah. Takeda
And he
goes,
chooses
I
to...
choose to fight, and headbutts him.
Never let anyone say you didn't stick to your principles, kid. Now... Oh, but Havoc gets shot in the hand.
And the amulet goes flying out of his hand, but it's not drawn like Shinnok's amulet anymore in this issue. It's drawn like Kotal Khan's portal stone.
It looks like a cookie.
It's kind of a cookie look to it. It kind of reminds me of like a small gold coffin. The shape of it. It's definitely not right.
No, not at all.
So we find out that the shot that hit Havoc in the hand came from Aaron Black, as he, Devora, Ferrator, Reptile, Kintaro, and Shiva arrive in a portal.
Kintaro, or something that looks like a zombie fox.
Yeah, it's orange, so I'm gonna guess Kintaro, but not giving me a lot of visual cues.
If Ferrator actually do something during this fight, I will take a shot.
You will, not be drinking tonight.
No? Damn. I really could have used that alcohol.
Devora is holding the actual Kotal Khan portal stone, which was apparently the supplies Kotal left on the beach.
Good stuff.
So they've come to fight, and Havoc and the possessed people all yell in unison, "Welcome to your nightmare."
Again, this feels like an Iron Maiden video or something. I don't know. So you guys a little back and forth moment here between Devora and Aaron, where she asks if he's ready for his redemption. Just tell me who to fight. Keep the Thunder God occupied. Die if you must. You said this was a rescue mission. Feels more like a Suicide Squad.
Like that movie coming out next year. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Pause the tape. Pause the tape.
That's not even a Mortal Kombat reference. Stop it.
Pause the tape. Stop everything. And let me say this now. To whoever decided that line about the Suicide Squad should be in this comic, I don't care if WB told Sean to put that in the comic. I don't care if Sean decided to put that in the comic. Whoever decided on that to fucking throw in blatant cross-advertisement like that in the middle of the comic that I'm trying to read, fuck you. Okay? That's not cool. That's not funny. That's not cute. That's just annoying.
I don't know. I think there is a slim chance that nobody told Kittleson, hey, you're a DC comic, so make a reference to a DC comic. He just thought, Aaron Black reminds me of Deadshot, so I'm going to make a DC joke. It's dumb, but I could see it happening.
So can I, and that's really unfortunate because, for God's sake, no. Please stop taking me out of what I'm reading, okay? Stop reminding me of the world outside. Maybe you are advertising, maybe you're not. Whatever you're doing, please stop.
Yeah.
Enough of this.
I think that's the point that really needs to be made when we complain about, the puns and the references that are too over the top. We're not, we don't hate fun or whatever you might say. It breaks immersion. When you're reading a story, you want to be in the moment. That's all it is.
Thank you. You said that much more eloquently than I'm capable of. I was so pissed off when I saw that. And Shad's journey of desolation, rage, despair, and hate about to continue.
So, I did say Ferrator don't do any fighting, but they do get fought with, because there is one panel where Possessed Kotal slashes Tor.
But that's after. Shiva asks Sentaro, is this the glorious battle you hope for?
While he's being nut-punched and uppercutted at the same time by Johnny and Sonya.
And he apparently only has 2 arms in this panel.
Or wait, no, it's Cassie and Jackie who are doing it. It's hard to tell because it's silhouettes. And yeah, he does only have 2 arms in this picture. What the fuck?
Did you even look at Kintaro? Dexter Soy, all of you.
Yeah, that's a new
Every
one.
last
Draw
one of you.
Shokan with only 2 arms.
I'm sorry that I can't remember your names, all of you who are working on this comic as artists, hopefully paid well. But if you can't remember what Kintaro looks like, and here I'm not even just talking about his face.
This is definitely a Dexter Soy issue. I just looked.
This is Dexter Soy?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. I thought you were the best of them all. Come on. Anyway, not like it matters. So anyway, I like how in this little Farrah Tor panel here, we don't even see Farrah. The word bubble's coming from behind Tor.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
Farrah's not actually in the picture.
Maybe for ease of making this thing easier to draw, I don't know. He was on a really, really tight schedule.
Also, while we're talking about inconsistency, Tor is constantly drawn with, like, greenish skin, and sometimes his hood doesn't cover the top of his head, and he has hair sticking out.
Is this his Player 2 color? What's going on there? It's very odd.
I know where the hair thing comes from. Like, in his concept art, there's a lot of pictures where they were considering having the hood not cover the top of his head, but the game is out now.
Been for quite some time. So.
Like, and even before the game was out, Farrah and Tor were 2 of the first characters we saw, like...
We've been aware of how they look for well over
a year before release.
Well over a year now. Yeah.
Surely there was reference on the web. We've had renders.
Coloring is just a bit off, sorry to say. Oh boy. He's possessed by Havoc, as Kotal takes a slash at Tor, trying to restrain him while Nope, Devora gets punched in the face for her efforts.
She's bleeding red. I just want to...
Yes, she is.
She doesn't bleed red, but she's bleeding red.
Yup.
So that happened.
Honestly, I feel bad for the colorist there. There should really be, like, a guideline. Welcome to Mortal Kombat. Shit's complicated. So, Havoc realizes that they still have to finish off Takeda with, oh god, no, he's taken the amulet and he's running.
Yeah, he's just booking it for the door.
With the amulet. Which still don't look right. Running from your opponent? What would Grandmaster Hanzo say? And you don't see what happens to Takeda.
I'm pretty sure Takeda just trips.
He's in a bad way. It could be either one. Havoc could have done something to him, or he could have tripped.
I think he tripped.
I think tripped is funnier. I know everything Raiden told you. Like how that amulet contains the power of an Elder God. Enough power to kill you. But Raiden never taught you to wield it, did he? Let me show ya. So he grabs the amulet while Takeda's holding it. And now we've got kind of a bit of a Dragon Ball moment starting. But here we cut back to Scorpion versus Hanzo.
And Scorpion is still stabbing Hanzo over and over again.
He's got enough rage. I can believe he's been doing that the entire time this other fight's been taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't need him anymore. Survivor's guilt. What we do changes the world. We don't need guilt. So, here we get Hanzo starting to fight back a little bit. I have worn guilt like a noose around my neck long enough. As he grabs the sword that's stabbing him and the fire bursts and erupts.
And he teleports away. And then from behind, Scorpion is hit with a giant fireball through his torso. And Hanzo, who's now dressed like another Scorpion, like he's got the white eyes and his hood and mask are up. You know, he's in his MKX primary. He picks up a sword, cuts off MK9 Scorpion's face, brain comes out, it's the whole fatality.
No guilt, no vengeance. Only justice. Complete with the tongue hanging out and the brain slightly chopped in half and everything.
Yep.
Although, the face slice is a good panel. I like it.
Yeah, I like the way that's drawn too.
The blade arc's nice. So we go back to Dragon Ball. And Takeda has clearly lost a grip on the amulet.
Havoc is just standing there blasting him with it, and he's like walking through it, which, how?
Because your soul is charged with Jinsei energy.
Ah.
In most circumstances, that would save your life. Today, unfortunately, it's only prolonging your painful, agonizing death. And there's some blue veins on Takeda's face here. Looks pretty painful. And oh god, this would be such a good panel if not for Havoc's fucking googly pupil eyes. It doesn't look right.
Yeah.
I guess maybe they were trying to make just for the sake of the next two panels, you had to like look next to him or behind him or whatever, but just no. Havoc doesn't have pupils. Raiden thought Shinnok's defeat achieved peace between realms, but peace is a golden opportunity for chaos.
Yep, Scorpion shows up and just rips his head off.
Straight up punked. He looks vaguely disappointed, Havoc does. Huh.
Hanzo! Kind of like, it's like that moment where Ultron is defeated in Avengers 2, where it's just Hulk shows up and he's all like, oh, for God's sake.
This is unexpected. I should figure it out by now, Cleric of Chaos. You can't count on anyone. Except me. Poof! Disappears in a puff of smoke and fire again, with Havoc's head.
And Takeda's just lying on the floor whimpering, Master Hanzo, come back.
This Havoc's body slowly bleeds out everywhere. Thankfully not in the shape of anything. This time.
That's not the end of the fight, but it's certainly the end of Havoc in the fight.
Yes.
The boss has been defeated. Kind of anticlimactic, I gotta say.
Scorpion literally popped up to end everything with a fatality.
He pulled what Akuma does to Bison in Street Fighter 2.
He raging demoned the boss.
Except in Street Fighter 2, you then get to fight Akuma. Not so much here.
No such awesomeness currently occurring. As we begin, issue 33. We are over the hump. The fight is still taking place. We've got Melina chomping on Reptile, who's bleeding red.
Yeah, because Reptile does that.
We've got Aaron Black firing nowhere near at Raiden as he flies through the room, crackling red energy.
That's not how straight lines work.
Not even a little. And we got in the foreground Kotal attacking Devora, who was begging him to stop.
Which, by the way, wasn't his paddle broken earlier? Because he's still swinging it.
That's the paddling
for a while.
He's got so many paddles. The paddling never ends.
Oh, of course. See, because the paddle is like the one weapon in Mortal Kombat that doesn't get pulled out of thin air.
And I'll take this next scene because I'm so very, very angry. Here we have Cassie and Jackie. Still giving Kintaro the business. He's got forearms again that kind of looks like something like a fat panda with too much lipstick on. I don't know what's going on here. In the background, Shiva stomps on Johnny. And Kintaro just goes, Shiva, they're so strong. Break them. Your queen commands it. Blood magic enhances their power, but you are Shokan. I won't fail. And Sonya steps up as both Jackie and Cassie restrain Kintaro, and she says, you already have, and rips Kintaro's fucking head right off. Sure, why not?
Yes, why not? Because, honestly, he has so many heads. They're interchangeable. It's a different one every panel, so let's just get rid of this one and put on another. But no, he's fucking dead.
What happened, folks? What? Am I the only one who remembers the halcyon days of Kintaro being the biggest fucking awesome badass, bigger, stronger, more powerful than Goro? What has been with the treatment of Kintaro for this entire fucking run? He had some moments of cool, but like, I get the sense that during these last couple of issues, there's been some sort of distaste for the character that's come through in writing. Nut punches, getting, like, labeled useless, can't swim, just not even getting a single hit in on or a good fight anywhere. Just getting his ass handed to him and then thrown away like this.
I don't know, man.
Christ.
Because the thing is, like, 2 pages later, they all get freed from possession.
That's the kicker, isn't it? As Shiva looks back and says, "Oh God, Kintaro, no!" And the fight still continues as Kotal's ready to take Devora's head off. And Sonia holds up Kintaro's decapitated head, and he just kind of looks like, I don't know, some sort of hairy panther again, I guess. Not that it matters anymore. Blood is chaos, chaos is blood, the blood code is, and then the curse wears off as Sonia stops repeating things and drops Kintaro's severed head in horror. And they feel like they're all going to hurl. Raiden realizes what he's doing, and so do they all.
I like this. He was shocking Aaron to death, and when he stops and he's like, "What am I doing?" Aaron goes, "That all you got?"
Very, very, very Sin City Violent Marv. It's nice. So, the battle is over, and that's that.
Yep.
This is what happens when you keep secrets, Raiden. Moral of the story, this is all Raiden's fault. Again.
Oh, it is. Which is a shame, because, like, I know he was the big fuck-up in MK9, and that was a thing, but MKX was kind of redeeming him, bringing him back to normal-ass Raiden. He didn't need to be the fuck-up anymore. I don't know why this comic had to be all like, fuck Raiden. They're trying to fix the character, not keep him that guy.
Sad. I really do wonder what Sean had to work with. For what it's worth, Sonya apologizes to Shiva for Kintaro's death, but she's like, he died a warrior's death. Melina is slowly walking off panel here. Just for another time. Not gonna start shit yet. Takeda tosses Raiden the amulet, having lost count of how many people he's watched die to protect this stupid thing. And Raiden apologizes. No more secrets, no more apologies, no more blood codes, just keep it safe. For all our sakes. We know that's gonna work out, right, folks?
Real well.
So, cutting over to Johnny and Jackie here. Take a deep breath, you're going home. And she's crying. And Johnny's trying to be really light and jokey about the whole thing, but he's not helping, so she tells him as much. And Sonya and Cassie start having a bit of a moment. "Young lady, I had serious business to attend to. You always do. You left the base without telling anyone. Sorry, Colonel Blade, Damn it, Cass, I'm not your commanding officer. I'm your mom. I love you too much to lose you." And they have a hug. And she calls her mom. It's a sweet moment. It is.
It's true.
Yes.
It is.
So we cut over to Melina, who has moved to set Ermac. Poor Ermac, who has not gone to participate in any of this because he's still strapped to that fucking table.
Yeah.
This whole time. And she whispers it's time to go. Maybe they can beat Kotal back to Zunkara. And Ermac gets up and he says, "We're sorry, Melina, but we can't come with you." "Oh, if you're interested, just give me your hand." And, "You are not crazy, Melina." Ermac. Possibly Outworld's worst judge of character. "But you are too impetuous to lead." And where are half the bandages on his face at this point? He's wearing like 4 straps. Outworld needs proven leadership. Don't say it. Don't you dare say it. And this is where Ermac has apparently changed his mind. Outworld needs Kotal Khan.
Well, let's talk about
Let's stop
for a
that.
second.
Yeah. Let's
The Ermac in the game
we see this happen.
joined Kotal the moment Kotal overthrew Melina and became king of Outworld.
This entire scene cannot have happened.
Well, Kittleson apparently, his version of events is that the reason Ermac has been working with Melina in the comic is that there's an unseen moment where when Rain and Tanya free Melina from the dungeon and set up the rebellion, Ermac switched sides again back then. That sure would have been nice to see in the comic instead of being told it on Twitter. Like, that's not how you tell a story, man. It should be on the page, not on your fucking Twitter.
That is not storytelling. That is covering your ass for the gross mistake that you've made.
Yeah, and that's my problem with all the mistakes. Like when, I pointed out, hey, Scorpion's wife and kid are named Harumi and Satoshi in MKX. Like, he says it on screen. You can't call them Kana and Jubei. And he's all like, but those are nicknames. Like, he just came up with it.
Jesus, Sean, do I ever feel bad for you?
I appreciate that you want to make up for your mistakes, but these excuses, first of all, are not good enough, and second, they're on Twitter, they're not on the comic page. That's bad storytelling.
Not much more else to add there. Sorry, Sean.
Yeah,
when you do right.
And again, like I've said, I don't blame Kittleson for every bit of bad writing in the comic, even though he's the writer. I blame NRS for a lot of it for not giving him enough knowledge of what would be in MKX. But he's still responsible for, not doing a better job with, like, filling in blanks and, like, just... I don't know, like... I don't know what I would have done in his situation. I probably would have not said Scorpion's wife and kids' names on the panel. Like, if I'm going to go write fanfiction, I'm not going to give Sector and Cyrax real names because they don't have them in the games yet. And I'm not going to be the guy who then has to go when a game comes out that does give Sector and Cyrax names. Like, oh shit, now I have to go back and change it because I fucked up. I'd rather just have nothing at all on that page than something that's wrong.
Alright. I got no much more to say apart from that's already been said. Because I'm with you. It's weak sauce. It really is. I will defend Sean when he does well. I will applaud him when he does very well. But you gotta know when to say, I done fucked up. Sorry.
Yeah, so it would
and I don't care if you have to say that 25 times. I know this isn't easy. They're not giving you a lot to work with. We can all tell.
I would respect it more if he'd just go, okay, that's a mistake. That's, pretend it says something different on the page, because what I wrote isn't canon. But, like, the plot of the comic is supposed to be, so in those instances, just, like, pretend it doesn't say what it says, as opposed to the little excuses. That's what I would think is more of a...
It would be nice.
Yeah.
Maybe for all we know, WB's got a gun to the back of his head going, make up whatever you have to make it make sense. Everything is just fine in WB paid product land.
I don't know. I feel like if that were the case, like that WB was telling him what to say and what not to say, he'd just not talk about the comic on Twitter, because that's how most professionals handle that sort of thing.
Indeed.
So it is at least nice that he interacts with the fans, and like I said, I appreciate that he's trying to make some kind of effort. It's just, I would go about it differently if I were in his shoes. But there are problems with the plotting in this comic that straight up defy the ability for the comic to be canon. Namely, Cassie and Jackie don't know who Aaron Black is in the game. But in the comic, they've spent an awful lot of time around him.
This is why I don't try to reconcile these two anymore. There's too many instances of shit that just doesn't make sense. I've let the whole thing go. If it were just one little thing here, one little thing there, I'd go, okay, that scene's not canon, that scene's not canon. But there's just so much.
Yeah, and there was on our Facebook page, there was a conversation comparing it to Shaolin Monks' canonicity, where, like, the entire game Shaolin Monks cannot be taken as canon. Because the plot of the game is that there never was an MK2 tournament, it was just Liu Kang and Kung Lao killing every single important Outworld character, which makes an MK3 impossible to have, but they still go, there's ideas in it that were supposed to be canon, and what they mean when they say that is Kung Lao's new backstory.
Pretty well.
So, I mean...
I don't even think that this comic is going to achieve that level, though. I will be sincerely surprised if anything from this whole thing winds up in a combat pack as a nod.
Because, I mean, even
if you take
this as... Like, if you look at the whole comic and you go, well, okay, the events weren't quite like this, but similar things did happen where these characters had to fight Reiko, it still can't even have been for the same reason, because the whole Reiko plot centers on the Kamidogu daggers, and those don't exist in the game universe.
Not really picking apart the minutiae of it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. No point.
So it's like the purpose of the comic was to tell basically 3 stories. Takeda's origin, the Reiko Accords, and how Sub-Zero took back the Lin Kuei from Sector. And those events are still referenced in the game. You didn't need to read the comic to understand what they are.
Mm-hmm.
So the comic is completely superfluous.
But again, would still take it over having no Mortal Kombat comic at all.
That's fair. Like, I'm not saying there shouldn't be a comic. I just wish the comic would go full non-canon and tell stories that have nothing to do with MKX. Because then I wouldn't have to worry about it.
If he goes in that kind of angle from here on out, I'm all for it. Better to have an original story that stands on its own and doesn't try to step in time and step in line with something pre-established and just run with it. Be free with it. Do interesting things with characters that we don't get to see a lot of. Rather than killing so many people, use them.
Or like... Yeah, just, like, set it in an alternate timeline, or, like, even go back to the original timeline before the reboot. And, like, then you don't have to worry about NetherRealm didn't give me enough information, because all the information is just what's on the MK Wiki or whatever, you know?
Fair enough.
Enough right there.
Such is the danger of tie-in products. Mortal Kombat fans, welcome to the world of tie-in products. How you liking that shitty cell phone game? Huh?
Hey, you give that cell phone game a chance, because when they're done supporting MKX, they might, like, put Serena in the cell phone game or something, like how they put Static Shock in the Injustice cell phone game.
Lovely. I'll be happy to tap 2 things with my fingers repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's supered anyway. Anyway.
I'm not saying play it, I'm just saying appreciate that it exists.
I guess. Ugh. I don't wanna. Anyway. So we're going back here, and Sonya and Cassie are still having their moment. She's talking about the frost fight. They realize it wasn't MMA, it was a death match. And Raiden and Kodal come up to them, and Kodal says, before we depart, we have interrealm matters to discuss. He gives them his regards. It's like, I'm pleased to see a family reunited for once. Yeah, but there's that kidnapper in your rescue party. About that. Lord Raiden's shock treatment was ample punishment for Aaron Black's folly. If he survives the journey back to Outworld, he deserves a second chance. Poor son of a bitch just lying on the floor covered in 3rd-degree burns. Or Aaron Black. If you take 2 things away from this comic, folks, fuck Kintaro, fuck Aaron Black. Okay.
Which is weird, because, like, the comic introduced us to Aaron Black before the game came out, and he looked like a badass until all this shit happened to him.
Poor son of a bitch.
He still took it like a champ.
He did. It's still... At the end of the day, I'd say that the comic still does more for him than against him, I suppose. I do like his attitude. It came through well equally as much in the comic as it did in the game.
Yeah.
So Kodal actually asks Sonya's permission to be allowed to deal with Black on his own terms. Raiden explains that Reiko and Havoc didn't do this alone. They had help and manpower. And Raiden says that he's asked Kodal to consider an accord with us to discuss inter-realm conflicts before attacking each other. But I will agree Only if you do, Colonel, says Kotal. An alliance with Outworld. A non-aggression pact, leaving any collaboration at our mutual discretion. They don't say it right out, they mention it later on, but this is basically what the Reiko Accords are. I guess.
Which, again, other than what they had to do with Reiko, was already explained in the game.
There you go. It's just nice to see it laid out, I suppose.
Yeah.
And, as a gesture of good faith, Kotal says he will return the, what did you call them? Weapons of mass destruction that were reclaimed from Kano. I like how the term weapons of mass destruction doesn't exist in Outworld. That's funny.
Well, I mean, there's only really one thing that term means, and it's usually like a nuclear weapon, and yeah, those aren't in Outworld.
Alright. So, they agree and they shake hands, and the last matter is the Amulet of Shinnok. And Raiden, in a moment of wisdom, says, it's very terrible, and I don't want to possess it for long, or I'll be corrupted again, and hiding it with secrets and lies made sense once, but those secrets have claimed too many victims as we look over to sad Takeda sitting in a corner. And he says that one of you should probably take the amulet. Kotal admits that he cannot guarantee its protection. Sonya says the Special Forces can. We'll put it somewhere where nobody can find it. From here we cut to the Netherrealm. Scorpion wanders into the gates and he's greeted by a couple of familiar faces. Draman and Moloch. They've made the wise decision, I think, to actually give Draman his bandaged outfit.
Yes. I've always said Draman should never be shown in his primary. He should always be wearing the mummy outfit.
Very smart.
On the disappointing side, he's not wearing the mask.
Yeah, the mask is just completely and utterly absent, and God knows why. Very strange
I imagine
choice.
it's just because somebody looked at his alternate costume bio, and in that picture he's not wearing the mask. Whereas in-game, whether you're wearing the mask or not depended on when you switch styles.
Yeah. Unfortunate. So, Moloch says, is that Scorpion? Scorpion, says Drummond. Get over here! Where you been?
Yeah. He keeps doing it.
Anyway... Moloch and Drummond. Knew I'd find you two covering for carrying at the gates of hell. Brought you a fresh kill. He tosses them Havoc's head. Wait, Hanzo! Ow! We're getting some straight comedy now.
Yep, the head's still talking, still shouting things like, "You are an agent of Chaos, Hanzo. Everything you know will die because of you."
A Chaos Realmer. These are rare. So many ways to torture him. Whatever you do, make it slow, says Hanzo as he begins to walk off. Hold on, Scorpion. We haven't forgotten how you betrayed Quan Chi. You serve Earthrealm now. I serve me, and I didn't come down here for a fight. But if you insist... So ends... Jesus Christ, what were we on?
That was issue 33. We're on 34 now.
Alright. I think I'm going to have to actually call it for the evening, because it's 2:30 a.m. for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to leave the last 3 issues for the next episode, which we will try to get done this week.
Absolutely. I'm sorry we can't do the whole thing, but we've been going for quite some time now.
Yeah, we're about to hit 3-hour mark. I think it's good to call it.
Because we're going to have plenty to say about Sector, Cyrax, and the Cyber Initiative.
That's true. We have completed the Havoc arc. All that remains is the aftermath.
Yay!
Alright, so stay tuned later this week. We will finish the comic review. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
We appreciate it. We love each and every single one of you. Thank you for listening to us drone on and grow gradually less coherent and sleepy. But we hope you love it as much as we do, because believe it, we do. Take care.
and thus most of the comic was conquered. Have a nice day.